teams wants to do for game one, because we keep talking about how Smeb can beat Maren in the top lane.
Yeah.
That's a way for KOO Tigers to win. But that's a very easy strategy for SKT to figure out. Okay, they might try and camp our top laner and kill him, so they should be ready for that. First ban for KOO Tigers, though, does show they want to respect the counter pick to Fiora that we normally see.
Well, already we have a pinch of Lulu or Gangplank, so Lulu could actually go through to SKT right here. Already with SKT bans as well, they banned Tahm Kench, something that KOO Tigers had not banned this entire world. So KOO wanted that. Now we'll see if SKT takes the Lulu away.
It's that or Rek'Sai. What KOO Tigers is doing is saying, okay, we ban Elise. Our jungler, in order for him to have an early game impact, he needs Elise or he needs the Rek'Sai. That's the two preferred picks for Hojin. SKT has to decide, do we want to go for that Lulu pick and say we're going to build full team fight here, or do they just take the early game impact jungler? That's what they're doing.
And this is something KOO Tigers opted into in pretty much all of their games against Fnatic. Hojin played 2 games on Zac, and honestly, he got bodied early game by Reignover's Rek'Sai, but they recovered, they played from behind, and they won team fights. Here, they give away the Rek'Sai for the Lulu. I would say that's completely as planned.
I think this is exactly what KOO Tigers were expecting. SKT even banned Kalista on blue side because they were maybe expecting this. Okay, do we choose between Kalista or Rek'Sai? We don't want to take that trade either, so they had to ban it away. And that's good bans so far, a good pick and ban phase for the KOO Tigers. It is lining up for a Ryze pick though for Faker. He likes to pick it into the Lulu in that mid lane. We assume it's going to be Koro playing the Lulu and not Smeb, because he wants to be on a carry now. It's how he can shine.
Well, KOO very, very good with that Lulu, kind of putting Juggernaut into the scene, being that team to bring it out. Probably won't go for the Kog'Maw here, but have the safety for Prey in those late game fights already. Sivir has been picked quite a bit towards the end of Worlds and continues to be picked now here in the first game by SKT.
So Sivir is often the response when you see a Lulu comp, because you want to be ready in case they run like a Juggernaut composition where you need to be able to dive that backline. You get the Sivir to add the utility for your team so you can reach the AD carry. So often it's just a pick where people say, okay, in case they do this, we have a counter now, or we have something that works well against it. Obviously, we haven't seen any AD carry pick yet for KOO Tigers. They can go Ashe if they want to here.
Yeah, because it's into a Sivir who's not the strongest laner, but what SKT has picked so far is a huge amount of map control. Global ultimates on what will probably be their jungler and support with Rek'Sai and Shen, Sivir for the wave clear, and Prey answers with the Jinx, which to me really feels like what Korean teams were picking in place of Kog'Maw is the Jinx, as kind of that hyper carry that they can look to protect. This is a Jugger Jinx composition coming together.
It is, and that's again why SKT picked that Sivir. They said, okay, in case you want to protect that AD carry, we want to have something where we can dive that back line. And KOO Tigers will have a very, very strong siege with Lulu, with the Jinx, and we have an early game jungler for Hojin as well. The one left, and he had a good game against Fnatic last week on this Lee Sin. He needs to do it again, even though it's into a not the greatest matchup for Lee Sin.
Very interesting to see the Jinx as well. Hardly ever saw it in LCK Summer. Just wasn't something that Korea picked up, but here at Worlds, it's definitely something they'll revert to.
I really feel like it's something that the Korean teams learned during the boot camp when all the teams came to Korea to play against them, and also through group stage success. And Faker goes with Cassidy again.
Wow.
So basically, he was thinking about taking the Ryze here because, again, the matchup into Lulu is good for the Ryze to sit in free farm. The problem is, it would be very difficult for them to kill, for SKT to kill the AD carry. Ryze would have to like run at them, Alistar can CC him, Lee Sin can CC him, kick him away, Lulu and everything. It would be too difficult for the Ryze to deal proper damage, I think, towards this backline of KOO Tigers. So they want more diving potential. But you're sacrificing quite a lot by taking this Kassadin.
Yeah, we'll see how much presence Faker can have in lane on Kassadin, because normally that's the pick that gets pushed in really hard. The one thing I like about Kassadin in this context is they have the Sivir to clear mid lane very early on in the game if they want to, and they can send Faker to a side lane earlier on. Not to mention they have a lot of global presence to make up for this thing. And now we get to see Smeb's Riven. This is such a good matchup for Riven into the Rumble historically. This is actually when you would pick it, even before Worlds.
This was one of the reasons Riven came back into the meta for someone like Smeb, because he was picked into Rumble. You would destroy him in lane so badly every single time. But really, SK Telecom, they're not picking for the laning phase here at all. They're picking to take these mid-game fights. You have Castle in one side lane, Rumble's in the other one, then you group for this Dragon, and you try and fight before this Jinx reach a 2 or 3 item spike when she becomes a monster.
And I want to see if Faker sticks with Ignite, because he hasn't actually run as much teleport as others have. They have a lot of global presence within their team because of the Shen and the Rek'Sai, but maybe Faker brings the Ignite to have a little bit more pressure in lane. feels like he's going to be sticking with that summer spell.
This works almost with KOO and against them. Everything's slow in the beginning, but when they love to fight, that's when SKT is going to want to fight as well, right in that mid game. It is going to be explosive once we get out of the laning phase. I cannot wait to see what comes from game one. Wolf picking up that Shen, 9-1 across Worlds. So Shen himself having a great tournament, great Worlds.
Yeah.
And he's going to be all over the map, protecting his team as Prey tries to cancel people out.
It's going to be one of these support picks. If you want to make sure your top laner can do fine one versus one, you get a global for him from the support to help him out. That's going to make it tough to kill Marin.
All right, as we load up for the first game in this best of 5 set, get on Twitter, share your predictions by sending hashtag SKTWin or hashtag KOOWin to @LOL Esports. Tell us who you think is going home with the Summoners Cup. We're about to find out right now who's going to get the momentum in game one. SKT, as we said, by the numbers, absolutely huge throughout the game. Hardly ever falling behind, and when they do, they always find a way back.
Yeah, and I cannot wait to see what happens in this early game. Here we go.
Normal spread by both teams to start this one off as we pan down Summoner's Rift, the battlefield where both teams will leave everything on the Rift before they leave here today.
And KOO Tigers right now, look at your minimap. They were setting up a small trap in their own jungle because SK Telecom in game one of their quarterfinal and semifinals, they did try and peek into the enemy jungle to see what was going on, maybe see if they can get in some deep wards to spot a potential lane swap. I think KOO Tigers had read that, they were sitting ready. But SKT is saying, it's game one, we're gonna play it super safe.
And I liked what KOO Tigers did early here because they also placed the ward within their own blue buff. So if SKT had done an invade on that side, they would at least be able to scout it. But as you said, this is a very conservative start for SKT, which we may actually expect from this one. KOO Tigers hasn't been able to make early game moves, and especially with the Caston on the side of SKT, they're okay with this game stretching a little bit longer, despite SKT having some very short games already so far at Worlds.
But this pick and ban phase is why we talked about how KOO Tigers in this meta right here, this patch we're playing on at Worlds, fits them a lot better. Because Smep gets to play the big carry up in the top lane. He played a tank every single time KOO Tigers faced SKT in the summer split. Now he's on a Riven into a Rumble. That's a fantastic matchup for him. At the same time, KOO can bring teleport in the mid lane, so he will have an impact even in case he loses. Kassadin at level 6 can take down this Lulu, and it's very difficult to do anything, so KOO just has to farm up and make sure he can protect his Jinx later.
As you were saying, they're amazing making that transition, and KOO only gets better when they have time to sit on the meta, when they have time to process that meta and get the strategy down they want. Here, going back to pretty much a normal comp in their Juggernaut phase, or Jugger Jinx, if you will, and we'll see if it helps them out once they get to those mid-game fights.
Yeah, Wolf was trying to do some jungle harassing, but he does come up a little bit short. The fact that they push KOO off the blue buff has very, very low impact. Rumble doesn't benefit from blue buff, neither does Rek'Sai, neither does Lee Sin, neither does Riven. The blue buff is actually pretty useless since the experience you gain from the blue buff is the same as at the other camps early on in the game. So they're going to be able to take that, and we're seeing a pretty standard-ish lane swap here.
Yeah, but due to the fact that SKT was so passive level 1, they didn't want to try and invade anything. They had zero vision really of where KOO was starting, so they managed to snuck 2 camps on the side of KOO Tigers down here towards the bottom lane before they moved up. So you can see they now have the blue buff, enemy Grump and Wolf camp as well on top side. So there's some extra camps to do from the KOO Tigers. SKT has to just rush down, push on this tower as fast as possible, because they obviously don't want to fall behind in experience.
Yeah, since they are behind in the jungle camps, they actually wanted to accelerate their turret taking. However, KOO Tigers is winning this one more so because of the Jinx.
Yes.
They are able to pull down the turret with the minigun form, since she gets all that increased attack speed hitting the turret, and keep equal in the turret speed while actually having fewer people taking the turret. It is actually a good start here for the KOO Tigers.
And it's interesting to see this, more of an LCK lane swap. Nobody's at the turret to be taken down. Both teams go there for together and take it down themselves. There isn't a top laner to be taken out. They're all getting what they need.
Basically, the team's adapting to that fast push lane swap we have seen time and time again in the Western scene, obviously. KOO Tigers did give over the gold to Smith. Down the bottom side, we saw Marin and Bang. They traded gold between each other. I didn't really like that because Bang was on 800 gold anyway, or 875 to get a pickaxe. So he just ends up getting a second Dorans. But it does mean he can buy pink. I would have preferred to just see Marin get all that gold, because they pushed it in so quickly, you didn't get up to these 18-20 CS you need to get that pickaxe plus the tower gold.
So last time we saw KOO on a Lulu, what did he get? First 5, 6 blue buffs of the game. The team was very adamant about continuously giving him that blue buff so he could push down mid turret and then get himself to the other lanes, or just keep somebody like Faker in the mid lane constantly.
SKT really were in a hurry when it came to killing that tower. They didn't even manage to bounce the wave on the bottom side. So they sent down Smep from KOO TIGERS to just pick up the entire wave. That's very, very good for him. You get a 2v2 top side, and you have a lane now pushing out for Smep to get some extra CS and extra experience because KOO TIGERS, because SK Telecom failed to bounce the tower or bounce the minion wave.
Yeah, I absolutely agree right there because SKT, now they have to worry about who gets dough first. Big team fight in the top lane.
Gorilla hitting up both Wolf and Bengi. The teleports are going to come in. That's KOO. Smeb's already there to fight. Eyes on Bengi. They turn to Wolf now. He's safer in the jungle for them to go after, and it may be him going down. They try to get the cripple towards him. That's going to be Wolf going down. First blood to the KOO TIGERS.
Remember that Faker is not running teleport. He didn't want to leave the mid lane. He just sat there, pushed it into tower, and KOO TIGERS said, we can take a fight up here. We're strong enough. Our top lane has picked up some farm, at least on the bottom side. You can see the big wave is still pushing in. Marin will catch that one. But KOO TIGERS investing everything into a team fight. We see this time and time again. So often, every single member gets an assist when KOO TIGERS gets a kill.
Something that teams have actually been slow on is after that first turret, get in the other side of the jungle, put your vision down, take aggression there, and finally KOO makes it work for themselves here. A team, like we said, doesn't really get going that early. Well, you have a Riven on your team, so they'll take whatever's on their plate right now.
There's a chance for Bengi to gank down bottom side now. We know Smep has to overextend. He used Flash as well in that last little fight. You can see Bengi on your minimap now. He's down here, but KOO TIGERS, they realized what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, Bengi's actually in position. It's late on the recall. He is really outnumbered.
He had to see the footsteps of KOO there as well, possibly calling Marin in late, but he baits himself into very low HP there.
Yeah, there's a good chance he was waiting on a recall right there because he may not have been looking at his screen as he was walking in, even though he was in the right position. So the fact that they ran into him early, they extended cooldowns, they kind of tipped off the gank, and at least for now, Marin is safe.
But this is what the KOO TIGERS do so well. They understand where will the enemy jungler go for a gank, where will the enemy team set up a play. They knew, okay, there's a big wave pushing, our top laner needs help. 4 members go down and assist him, make sure he can push it out. SKT though,
Famous level 6 here.
That's an 80 carry left alone on top side.
Prey in a real bad spot, and he hopes to get on his knees and do just that. Stays alive a little bit longer. Can Faker get the final hit? Here comes Gorilla. Should be able to pick it up, but it goes to Prey. 2-1 now in favor of the KOO TIGERS.
Wolf started off tanking that one very nicely as a level 2 Shen was able to clear aggro, but the patience of Prey using that heal late baited SKT into a disengage. They were really trying to funnel that first kill onto Faker to jumpstart him into this game, but because the heal was timed properly, it really delayed the kill from Faker, and KOO very deftly trades one back.
It is such a good trade for KOO TIGERS. They defend their own top laner, the Riven, they pick the 1-to-split push, and at the same time, they trade 1-for-1 up in the top lane here for Prey. So great start for the KOO TIGERS so far. Just gotta make sure that Smep can keep getting all the farm he needs, get him to that level 6 point. He can 1v1 against the Rumble, and suddenly you have split pushing pressure.
Absolutely. Focusing, getting Smep going. Prey gets himself going off a very nicely played dive from SKT. And maybe if Faker had that teleport, he'd been there sooner. Would have made it work. He did take that Ignite after all out of Champion Select. And KOO sprinkling a little bit of that magic dust here in the beginning of the game. Get themselves a slight lead, only working with 600 right now.
Just Gorilla instantly recalling after being towards the bottom lane. Forced Faker to basically say, I can't report out
so
here.
Many minions at that turret.
He definitely did. So
Seed
Faker
wave going in. Could not get it, and now Faker's back in lane. Level 7 as he returns. KOO gonna get his blue buff, so he'll continuously push Faker back into that lane. His kill pressure down with the Ignite down, so he'll pretty much be sitting pretty there, farming the minions up as he can. Still up 7 CS as he did that roam. Faker always making sure his lane is in position, so he doesn't fall behind in those instances.
And it's now 2 plays that actually did go in KOO TIGERS' favor because they had the first gank work. The SKT gank, the split kills, actually failed. And coming up towards the 10 minutes here, we're going to have a very uncommon scenario where KOO TIGERS is actually going to be up in gold. Because looking at the bracket stage in particular against KT and Fnatic, KOO averaged a gold deficit of 916 at 10 minutes, whereas SKT in their bracket stage were on average up 626. So this is a bit of a roll role reversal here for KOO Tigers, and since their strengths have been team fighting and the defensive play, it will be interesting to see if they can turn on an offensive stage of play, which is what they need to push as Faker is farming up on Cassidy.
This is only accelerating that good time that KOO Tigers loves to have. 5 members of their team, very good friends, as you said, kind of misfits as they scrap around Deficio, but here making things work. And Hojin, as he is usually reactive, sits in the back, a little more proactive this game. You see him towards the top lane, hasn't had vision of Bengi, so he's sitting behind Smet. Little action towards the bot side, the teleport coming in right now from Marin. His ultimate is up. They lay down the equalizer. Wolf should be able to get out of this one. Marin into the fight now. KOO and Prey are the targets, and that's going to be KOO going down. SKT seemingly pulling this one back in their favor with just a few kills to the bot lane, and that's a double kill for Marin.
Massive play for SK Telecom here. Marin, he TP'd down, he walked behind the KOO Tigers. You can see they placed a ping ward in the lane. You're like, is there any ward where they can teleport? No, okay, we can take the fight then. Didn't realize that Marin then snuck behind through the jungle. In the end, SK Telecom sends down every single member. 3 kills for them.
So much for that goal lead, and also a complete lapse of pressure from the KOO Tigers. Faker made it down there on an Ignite Kassadin, and then his lane was not punished. KOO did match with the teleport. Smeb decided not to. I don't think he had the right position to do so. So SK Telecom really globally positioning better. It was rare watching any game so far at Worlds to see SKT actually commit 5 people to one side of the map.
Look at KOO Tigers placing the ping ward, saying, okay, there's nothing behind us right now, so we can take the fight here. Marin then
Riven
sneaks
needs to be in on that same ward.
Not sure why. He's not there. He canceled his own teleport. Smeb up in the top lane. Maybe there's communication saying we can get 1 kill and it's fine. In the end, it ends up costing KOO Tigers so much down this bottom lane.
Yeah, and this was a glimpse of what you can do with the Shen and the Rek'Sai. They teleported the top laner. Bengi was at his own Gromp before he was able to make it into that fight, and Wolf doesn't even have his stand united yet. Not to mention, we saw the teleport burn from KOO already in this fight. Smeb really needed to match that teleport of KOO if they wanted a chance in that fight, but even then, they ended up losing it pretty substantially. Maybe he just saved his life there by not coming in.
And just also good understanding of cooldowns here for SK Telecom. Faker is going to trade Core. He's going to keep doing this, by the way, over and over and over. There's really no damage Core can return, and Gorilla gets taunted.
Oh, that teleport is down, so this means the fight is the 3 we have on your screen. That's instantly Bengi getting hit up as the Gorilla gets himself in with the Unbreakable Will and sets up for a kill.
Be careful messing with Alistar around the turret. Not a good taunt by Wolf, and it ends up pulling Bengi into a little bit of a fight. Alistar gets to ignore turrets. That's one of the reasons he's the most picked support here for most of the year and at Worlds. So really punishing Bengi very early there. The burst damage from Prey and Hojin as he was headbutted straight into all of the skill shots. Make short work of Bengi.
They're in the wave, pushing Smet back, knows the jungle pressure is towards the bottom side, so he has time to
Faker's
deal
coming
a
up.
little bit of damage.
Marin is baiting this. He just wants to poke down Smep. He doesn't want to kill him right now. He's waiting for Faker to join.
Rek'Sai ultimate as well, just behind their blue, so Bengi should be here in time. They may not even need him. Stand United is on. They hit the end of the taunt by Wolf, and Faker picks himself up a kill now.
I have seen so many moves here by SKT to get Faker kills on Kassadin. These plays are extremely well orchestrated, and the best thing about this is they're not losing pressure on the lanes.
No.
While Faker's being able to roam around, no other team who's played Kassadin has been able to team play around him this well early in the game.
Simply, the mid lane matchup allows Faker to ignore Koro and say, you're not going to do any damage to me, you're not really going to push on my tower, kill his wave, and then just leave. And he does it again and again and again, and he managed to appear at the side lanes. He's ready to pick up the kills. We even see the Shen support join in. So SK Telecom right now are benefiting from Faker being in a lane where he's not going to be under any pressure at all. And he can then use his mobility to join the other lanes.
And we've seen, rewatching SKT's games, even KOO's, SKT just better at making plays off of small mistakes. Everybody went to the bot lane, a lot of teleports are down. Let's make a play on the teleport top lane and get it to work for us.
And we can then constantly go back to, okay, what was the last play where Koro had an impact? Okay, he TP'd down to the bottom lane. Right. But that was the play where KOO Tigers had completely misunderstood the situation, already cancelled from Smep, so they couldn't win. The fight that meant the teleport was on cooldown. Suddenly Faker can roam and nobody can join.
Exactly.
And so much of what we've seen from the KOO Tigers as well throughout Worlds is they actually do not pick up much farm by playing 3 lanes. They instead shrink the map, find team fights, and then win based on killing the opponents. Because their overall CS differentials, even at the end of the game, Hojin, Curl, and Prey in bracket stage averaged big CS differentials against their opponents. And SKT, right now, are also the ones getting kills as well as pushing the lanes. They are winning across a lot of different dimensions.
Yeah, because the KOO Tigers tend to fall behind in the early game at 20 minutes, they get pushed so far back on the map, they can't be proactive. Because whenever the other team then pushes out the wave, there's going to be 2 or 3 minion waves coming down towards Smeb. He wants to pick it up. The other team will force a fight. And Smeb has to TP away. So he has to sacrifice that farm to join the teleport or to join the team to get that big team fight going for KOO Tigers. That's one of the main reasons they fall so far behind in CS across the board. Smeb, despite being probably the best or second best top laner in this tournament, he's even in CS. But at the end of the game,
his job is going to get much harder against a 2-0-2 Marin. He has enough money right now. 1:30 on that clock for Dragon. That Zhonya's he has is most likely going to be finished before those short boots, and he'll be so powerful when this Dragon fight comes up. Getting help here from Bang in the top lane, so they don't have to worry about that pressure.
And again, look at the map pressure. Smeb under his turret facing 3 to 4 people. They are posturing a dive right here, but mainly just trying to take the turret. What KOO wants is to bait a dive and be able to save under the turret with Alistair and with the Lulu teleport, but they really just don't have the necessary information right here. It has been a KOO special to wait for turret dives and turn them around, but now they're against a much more formidable foe.
And this right here is a play we have seen all the Korean teams do in this tournament. We're down on the bottom side when there's no tier 1 tower. They push the minion wave all the way to the enemy tier 2, and then they recall off the bottom lane. Both support and AD carry recalls, and they rush to the opposite side of the map where your top lane is still sitting and farming, so they don't give away what's happening. Because all KOO Tigers sees, okay, Marin is in top lane farming against Smeb. Well, that's pretty normal. They bot lane recalled. We don't know where they're going to go on the map. So because Marin stays, kind of fakes it, they show up and there's only 4 members pushing in the tower. But KOO Tigers this time around were ready, knew what was going to happen, and were there to defend.
Look at the pressure here from Bang. Knowing that he's got somebody behind him, KOO can feel it as well. Not much pressure there, but it looks like SKT is trying to get some flashes or some ultimates before this Dragon.
And I want to call attention to the item timings as well. Bengi just completed a 16-minute Sightstone. Some Rek'Sais in the group stages, Reigno would be one of them, were completing 4 and 5-minute Sightstones and then trying to cover the map. But knowing that they are up against KOO, who has not traditionally been an early game aggressive team, Bengi could then get combat effectiveness, finish his Cinderhulk very early, then get a late Sightstone. It works perfectly. He gets the Sightstone, he wards up the Dragon, and now they can take him.
And this is what SK Telecom want to do with their comp. We talked about it in the pick and ban phase, how strong it is in the mid game. Right now, you have the items completed, Rod of Ages forecasted in, Hourglass for Rumble. It's very difficult for KOO Tigers to fight. Your Jinx doesn't even have Infinity yet. You cannot teamfight right now. And SKT gets a free Dragon, can even go back and defend. Hojin might set up a dive against Marin, but remember the Shen ulti. It's always going to be there. Wolf is just sitting in the mid lane, waiting for KOO Tigers to make an aggressive play, and then he joins.
Something that can easily catch them off guard is that Shen ultimate. We've kind of seen KOO within the past few games of the tournament. They bring out the Zac, they bring out the Ashe, causing teams they play against to have to ward differently, play differently in initiations. It seems like Shen is creating that possibility for SKT right now. Thwarting some kills, giving SKT the lead here in engages.
And another possibility SKT's opened up with this team comp is just a different look than we've seen for most of Worlds. Marin has played Rumble, but it's been a bit of an abnormality.
Yeah.
We have seen the top laners split pushing, and the mid laners being kind of the damage dealer. But SKT swapped around this roles for this specific game. Faker is the one split pushing and making plays, whereas Marin, a lot of the time, will arrive with the equalizers in the team fights.
Pushing the mid tower will be very hard for SK Telecom. Kassadin obviously can't really join in unless there's nobody defending. I'd rather see SKT focus on getting deep vision right here than trying to just group 4 members mid, because with the teleport on Lula as well, it should be easy enough for KOO Tigers to defend it. You see right here, they can just clear it out. Sivir is the only one who can really hit the tower, and it does absolutely nothing at this point. Get deep vision, get skirmishes with your Kassadin. That's what your goal is, not pushing in mid tower at the moment.
Well, especially because every single global on SKT is up right now, so wherever Faker goes, the rest of the team has the ability to support him right there, and then it's on KOO Tigers to stop the split push. I definitely do feel like SKT should be doing that to Fischio, but I also think that since they are up 2 dragons to 0 already with the scaling Kassadin on their side, they're okay with this current set of circumstances as long as Faker's farm.
As long as you can keep farming, don't put him with your AD carries so they have to share and try and fight each other for that CS. It never works out. Both carries, they start whining.
Faker will always pick up more gold.
He will get some of it. He will get some of it. But really, for KOO Tigers, the fact they have double teleport means they should be able to always have the 2 side lanes, or at least 1 side lane pushing against SKT. And we might have to see them go aggressive and tower dive on the opposite side, where Faker is not sitting on this Castellan because he doesn't have teleport, or Bang, of course, as an AD carry, and use the fact that KOO can then TP in 5 versus 4 fight for the KOO Tigers. But for now, they're still behind. The AD carry does not have any completed items, so they're not in a position where they really want to fight with confidence.
Both sitting around that same damage spike. Leandri's just finished by Marin, but sub 20 minutes in the game. That Zanya's as well. Sword boots are going to be easily finished. These guys are all items coming online right now to make things happen.
Marin is so incredibly fed, and Faker is also going with the ridiculously aggressive Kassadin build. He's going Lichbane as his second
I wondered
item.
what that was going to be after Aether Wisp.
Yeah, I thought maybe a Ludens. That also would mix. So often you see Zhonya's as the second item because you need to Rift Walk aggressively and then avoid getting killed by the rest of the team. But it's also Faker, so he's going to be very patient with his positioning. This makes it very hard for him to go directly at the Riven, because if Riven does get the stun off, he can try and full combo the Kassadin before anything falls down. It's going to be a big skill matchup now.
Yeah, he's basically saying, I'm going to be against Lulu most of the time. So Hourglass, the armor doesn't really do a whole lot. She's not going to kill me. I want some more burst, really, for himself. Finally, with the SKT getting into jungle, places some mission cleared out. You can see he's not afraid of KOO at all. He can barely burn through his own shield.
Lulu's damage does not come out in burst. It's very over time. The AP Lulu, while the Glitterland slows you, it's then about the auto attacks afterwards. So I do actually like the build from Faker here, as long as they continue to use him as a split pusher.
This was good though from KOO Tigers, because again they use the teleport to push the bottom side, get some damage on tower, force SKT to send someone down to defend it. They need to keep doing that, but they're only allowed to do it because SKT has not completely taken over jungle. So you can freely push out your waves right now if you are the KOO Tigers. You're not really afraid of getting ganked because you have defensive wards as well. But SKT is very clearly saying we don't want to risk anything. Just farm up that castle and get that third dragon, and then we'll start invading. You can see Bengi on your screen. Now he's moving into the jungle. Now KOO Tigers suddenly can move straight from the lanes to the towers and defend. They have to take the long route around, and that's where SKT can catch them in the rotations or just be there first and take away a tower.
So many options now for SKT as they move into the jungle. Faker just off on the wing to the right. You also have Wolf and Bang kind of hovering back and forth through the jungle. Bang clearing waves in mid now. Just the 80 carries doing what they can in mid to farm it out. They might be able to get some good damage on him here, but it won't be a trade coming in from Bang. A little too close and not enough vision on the other side.
Prey played that extremely well. Wolf also had to flash away defensively. They burned a lot of cooldowns right there. Normally the Shen is threatening a taunt flash because he would have backup, but Prey knew he had Riven backup as well, and then SKT couldn't bring enough people with the taunt to create an actual threat, and he ends up completely winning that trade and burning some pretty key cooldowns from SKT.
And that was just when SKT finally had taken some control on the bottom side. Instantly it get pushed back because they have to recall with Wolf, no Sivir ulti. So KOO Tigers have done a very good job keeping very defensive wards. You can see on your minimap here, trying to spot every single time SK Telecom wants to move into their jungle. And then again, it allows the Lulu to move all the way down here without a tier 1 tower, push out the wave, force Faker to sit and clear it so he can't do anything without his teleport. And it just buys more time for KOO Tigers to farm up the Jinx, which is all they want to do. Just sitting mid lane, Prey's just constantly farming, and also waiting for that point where Riven can all in this Hourglass Rumble and take him down, because then suddenly you have 2 winning lanes.
And it does feel a little bit better to be Prey right now, knowing you won't get flash taunted, but you still have to worry about on the hunt, Bengi tunneling through, Faker coming through as well. So it's not going to be easy for KOO to organize these fights.
And I think one of the biggest things they have to worry about is the level 14 Rumble. Marin is an absolute monster right now. Highest CS in the game, most gold in the game, giant item power spikes, and the pre-fight poke on Alistair is absolutely huge. Bang got hit pretty hard too, though.
Yeah, got a crit. Faker delivered. Straight to him. So KOO Tigers feeling confident. Got him vintage completed for Prey. Don't feel like they necessarily have to take this one, but again, they're afraid of these dragons getting out of control.
And this has typically been where KOO Tigers has swung back their gold deficits. This is actually a tiny gold deficit. They've come back from 5,000 gold pre-20 minutes twice during the bracket stage already. It's only a 2,000 gold lead for SKT. but it's the item differentials right now. The Rumble and the Caston are huge. Equalizer missed, but Smeb is all alone.
See what happens. Faker not going to be able to chase down.
KOO can start Dragon now.
KOO can go Dragon.
KOO can go straight to Dragon.
Side of the map.
Smeb playing super aggressive, trying to force someone to move over and stop him. Has the mobility on this Riven. That's a free Dragon for KOO Tigers. Should be at
Inside
least.
the pit. Chompers are down to stop up Marin. Looks like he could not throw that ult down as he just used it. Still, Hojin on the backside. Gorilla throws on the ultimate. That's about to wear off soon. He could be the next one. All flashes forced over by KOO. A chase from Marin and Bengi. Kicked. Faker's range. Faker over the wall. Are they going to be able to take down Kuro? The wild growth is down. The first one is Gorilla. That's going to be few more kills. Hojin and Prey fall to the ground, and they've only lost their support. 8-4 now for SKT.
You really got to see the power of the brute items that SKT had picked up. No equalizer and no Faker until the complete backside of that fight, and they still wrecked them. Marin was just a walking death ball right there. Flame Spitter was pretty much all he did, and he pushed all of KOO Tigers back. Sivir ultimate to extend the chase, and KOO tried to run, but they were not fast enough.
Suddenly, Faker will join in. They have to run back from this Dragon here, but really KOO Tigers were so delayed in their decision. They pinged the mid tower when they saw Faker go for that gang and say, should we push the tower? Someone else calls, no, we gotta go Dragon, guys. And then 5 seconds delayed. That's enough for Faker to move back and join in for this fight here. Secure the kills for SK Telecom. Miscommunication will be punished by a team like SK Telecom every single time, and that's why they pick up 3 kills.
And so will that many flashes down on the side of KOO as they use them to escape that fight.
Bang always on the backside of these fights as well. Great support with the Sivir. This is SK Telecom coming online. They did make the mistake, but KOO Tigers didn't punish exactly right because of the delayed move that they made towards the Dragon Pit. If they would have been in closer position and they knew Faker would have been further away, there's a chance KOO Tigers could have actually taken that fight.
For sure.
With the Lulu and the Jinx, but instead they were forced into retreat, and SKT is a spectacular team at chasing down kills.
Had that Dragon just been rushed, bursted down, Marin probably wouldn't even have teleported in the first place. Just said, you know what, that is lost. We tried to make a play, it didn't work. We still have 2 Dragons, it's fine. We can now go back to play the same way, try and use Faker in one of these side lanes, but really it is hurting him. He doesn't have that teleport. That's always what you look at in the late game against a double teleport team. It becomes so difficult because every time you show yourself in one of these side lanes, you're afraid of a play happening. If he ever goes bot lane, at this moment here, KOO Tigers might just say, you know what, let's rush the Baron. Let's just force a team fight at this Baron here and force SKT to move in and try and stop us. But obviously, due to the goal lead, due to the fact that SK Telecom have some very, very strong members, especially this Rumble pick, it obviously becomes a lot harder for KOO Tigers to punch that lack of teleport.
All that stuff only going to happen for Marin as he upgrades his boots. Good to go in that sense as well. Another needlessly large rod on top of all of that for more damage. Aegis being built up on both sides, so a bit of the magic resistance finally comes out, but the lane's always being pushed. Now bottom lane by Marin, getting that in favor. Mid turret goes down though with KOO. Straight pressure to the mid lane as SKT tries to get a few hits of damage back in.
Strong move by KOO there. Marin was split pushing, but KOO knew that the teleport timer was down because he used it to get into the Dragon Pit, so they very easily move up with long-range Jinx rockets, plus the Lulu for extra move speed and safely take down that turret. Since also SKT was using deep wards, so that was kind of a turret spent on getting wards into the red side jungle of the KOO Tigers.
Sadly, only a few though for SKT, and normally when you place these wards, you want to be in the jungle already. So the other team can't see you, what's happening in there. They want to peek in and be like, oh, can we clear a ward maybe? And then boom, you just punish them, you kill them, and you can then rotate to the Baron. Every time KOO Tigers now gets to group up and move down to these towers, it's in their advantage because what their team wants to do. They should be able to see Faker sitting and farming and knowing, okay, we have maybe 5-10 seconds, we can get one hit or try a trade and then go back from there. But then Faker obviously will move down from his lane and be able to flank.
The Bane Faker on the Caston. The rest of this team approaches the turrets. They're going to go down quite fast. We'll see if they can get to them anytime soon. 27 minutes in the game, average game time coming in for SK Telecom in their wins, because that's all they've done is 32-10. So just about 4 minutes from now, they would have the win in this game. I don't know if KOO is going to allow that to happen this time. They did have a little bit of magic dust in the early game, which set SKT back. And this is kind of the time that they shine. Their items have come online. Can they get the mid-game fights they want?
It is pretty important to note that Kuro has completed his death cap, which is the main power spike you get for the Lulu, and Jinx also just picked up a BF sword of extra damage to go through. But honestly, the mobility of SKT is extremely punishing here.
That's a lot of love for Gorilla right there. He gets himself out safely. Kuro's throws on the wild growth himself to deter the fight even, and they lose some ultimates there.
Why was
Very big.
Yeah, why was Gorilla sitting in the mid lane when his AD carry just recalled? You're just an Alistar support. Very easy for SKT to punish him, push him away. They have full control. If you look at the top side of the map here with pink wards in the river, Baron, there's no wards from KOO Tigers. One bad fight for KOO Tigers, 1 or 2 guys die.
Game is over.
Game is over. Straight to Baron, pick up that Baron, and then suddenly you can just dive onto the enemy, or you can just 1-3-1 again with buffed up minions, and it will be almost impossible for KOO to stop.
Marin is about to hit level 18. It's 29 minutes in, he's at
Hojin
level
is gonna
17
get picked off
top
here.
laner. That's something SKT has done this game. They have played the waves better, and we see this 3,000 to 4,000 gold advantage, but the experience advantage is even bigger, specifically in that top lane. Marin was 3 levels ahead of Smeb just a second ago.
He's the only one in the game right now with a 3rd level of his ultimate. That's how far ahead he is. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that equalizer scales extremely well. So that is, the 3rd level of the ultimate is absolutely huge, even for Kassadin too, when Faker hits level 16, because the cooldown of his Rift Walk will drop to pretty much 2 seconds, and it makes it much harder for KOO to lock him down and burst.
And KOO was in an okay position, going back a few minutes, sitting there farming every single lane. Prey just got free farm in the mid lane. SKT didn't really know what they wanted to do, if they wanted to wait for Dragon, did they want to invade the jungle or push a tower. So they were kind of waiting it out as well. But then KOO Tigers were just so slow at reacting to that Dragon play. That's what SKT needed to get some more kills and really now open up for Baron as well.
And now there's so many different plays that they have to pick from. Dragon is up, SKT wants to stop the timer, but Baron also has to be defended. Great stop by Gorilla.
Huge knockup. 4 people from SKT.
In a choke
There's
point,
some
though.
rockets coming in. Very nicely done. Can they get themselves some more? SKT sees that it's a very bad situation. They start to ping down towards Dragon. They may have the time to burn this one down, but they don't have the help of Bang right away. He is very hurt.
KOO outplayed that very well,
Yes.
and they got a crit rocket in the choke point. Gorilla stuffed it. Jinx was protected essentially by the Alistar, and SKT actually thought they had a larger numbers advantage than they actually did, which is why they ended up grouping up there and getting crit rocket. They're a little lucky that they didn't lose out on that one with the way that KOO played it.
Yeah, SKT as well, they wanted to bait that TP from Smeb by saying, oh, he shows bot lane, instant, start a fight, get him to TP in, and then you saw what they decided to do was run away. We don't want to chase into this choke point here, we got in low. Faker! That was risky.
Very close.
Sivir ulti is down though.
Flash, Hojin gets the wild growth. They may still decide to chase this. Faker throws out a few more. And it looks like they're going to be safe this time. They have the vision on that side of the brush. SKT does not, so they can't, but they will start pushing mid.
Yeah, mid tower is open. KOO Tigers is to take the long route around.
Oh, that turret going down so fast.
It's a game of attrition right now. They're starving out the teleports, they're starving out recall tamers, and they're trying to starve out wards with all these other objectives up. And it's back and forth too, because one team makes a nice aggressive play and it's answered. Eventually they will run out of cooldowns or go into an irreversible play, and we will see that fight. But for now, they're just throwing jabs at each other.
Smeb has not gotten too much for himself this game. 0, 1, and 2. He's still on that Bloodthirster, on a Brutalizer, and a Hex Drinker for a bit of that survivability, but he has not been able to hit a good fight here. The team is looking for it. Looks like Rek'Sai coming in. We just saw Bengi use his ultimate just below the team. They're all going to be there. Bengi gets hit back. He's going to be able to turn around now. They have Prey in the perfect spot, and they take down Prey. They take down Gorilla, and it's just chaos for KOO. They cannot find the right positioning. A double kill as well for Bang.
Prey was caught out of position. He didn't know if he should flash over the wall or flash into his own team, but the fact he was caught out there meant he had to run and not deal damage. Suddenly, SK Telecom can just chase, get the kills.
And people keep getting funneled into either a Marin Flame Spitter or a Faker flank. It's making it pretty safe on Faker, and now they're baiting the Baron.
Smeb about to get smushed. The Harpoon does not hit, but they get the smite down, and the Flame Spitter will cook him just right. Well done on Smeb. He goes down. 45 seconds on these timers now, and SKT is going to use that to its fullest.
We need to see how KOO Tigers were positioned on the map before that last fight. How did Prey get so far away from the rest of his team? He needs the Alistar, he needs the Lulu to peel for him so he can constantly deal damage. The moment he starts running, he does nothing. So let's see what happens. He's in the river, basically. He's so far away from the team.
He was sweeping a brush, and that's why when SKT went for the heart of the team, they single out Prey. That equalizer as well funnels everyone right up against a wall. There's no way they can't group there unless they stand on the equalizer. But it all started with that positioning by Prey.
And you can see how low a lot of the members from SKT are in the end. If Prey had been sitting there dealing damage all the time, that fight could have gone completely different. But credit to SKT, again, they wait for that opening. They use some of their globals really well to go back and shop and then return. We'll get another Dragon. SK Telecom has been in full control for most of this game. Whenever there was an opening, I feel, for KOO Tigers, they didn't take it. they allowed SKT to then say, oh, we can send Faker over to this lane and do nothing, and it's okay.
You can see the disparity in that fight. Prey running for his life. Bang, throwing out all the auto attacks and boomerangs he needed. 3,800 damage to this 800.
Yeah, and Bang is in such a position to succeed as well, because team fights, especially at the highest level, are all about threat and who is under threat.
Yep.
So Bang, in this case, the only person he really has to worry about is Smeb getting a flank. But if SKT's the one starting the fights, they don't have to worry about those things. And Prey instead had to run from Equalizer, Casting, and everything else.
Home guard stand united onto Smeb. He may be able to fight back here. Kuro gives him a very early wild growth that doesn't pop anybody up. Still is using it to get out of the fight instead of in. SKT is running down the lane. Hojin can't even help on the outside right now. Somehow, KOO gets out, only losing Prey. No, there goes Hojin. Now goes down Gorilla. SKT was just looking to light the fuse, and from a double kill to a triple kill, Bang is also getting huge.
Sivaralt after Sivaralt, they're creating the large positional advantages off of these small missteps by KOO Tigers, and they haven't been able to defensively ward to avoid the rotations by SKT.
One of the changes KOO Tigers made coming into the playoff in the LCK was stop picking hyper carries for Prey. Don't rely on him to be the big carry in team fights. Give him utility, give him an Ashe pick or a Sivir pick, and we let Smeb be the carry. We try to let Kuro in team fights be more of a carry. They have now gone back to say, okay, it's too predictable if we just try and gank Smeb's lane all the time. Yep. They've been playing more around what Prey could do here, put him in the mid lane to farm up, and rely on him in team fights. But the last few team fights, he's constantly just been in bad positions where SKT can punish him. Obviously, it doesn't help when Lulu has to invest everything she has onto the Riven.
Yeah.
All this was supposed to go onto Prey, and now he joins in all alone, basically.
It's a full health Faker.
And to me, this fight is Smeb trying to make a play. It's a little bit of desperation. They knew they'd been losing a lot of the grouped up team fights, so he was hoping to create an opportunity in the side lane, but it ends up just drawing the whole team into a big flame spitter. Luden's Echo was just completed onto Marin. Oh dear.
After that Rylai's the distortion boots, as we said before, so he's getting his summoners back nice and fast. And it's got to be very difficult for Smeb to make any moves against the team with on the hunt, against the team that can rift walk. A very nice Zanya's through the wind slash. Smeb's gonna go down in this one. He tries to put the nail in the coffin, but ends up in it himself. That's gonna be another turret. We said it would be Baron in the base, and SKT have their eyes on it.
Level 17 Cassidon with Zonies is far too slippery to be able to take down unless you use all of your team's damage at exactly the moment that he is stunned. KOO tried to bait the side lane brush right there, which is a popular play while you were behind. Faker, you could tell, was kind of waiting for it with the way he juked side to side near the brush where Kuro was waiting. And it's SKT who gets the last laugh there.
It's amazing how that once SKT has a stranglehold on your strategy or even a slight lead, they push it wherever they want, but still playing reactively. You make a mistake, we take so much from the base. You make another mistake, that's the game. At this point, it cannot happen anymore for KOO Tigers.
And it's scary to see SK Telecom win team fight after team fight against a team that was supposed to be the better one in the late game fights. KOO Tigers has always been praised as one of the best team fighting teams in the world, where they could possibly beat SKT, who more about skirmish, you know, more about the early game. Not been the case in this game.
I think a lot of it has to do with the way SKT did draft for finding team fights. Sivir, Rumble, traditional team fighting AD carries there. And even the jungle matchup, Rek'Sai versus Lee Sin. Rek'Sai is incredibly good into Lee Sin, burning that first pick on the Rek'Sai to give Lulu over, and then just positioning better than the team with the Lulu. It's been draft as well as play for SKT.
Yeah, and it's just something we mentioned, how SKT so quickly realized what could happen in the pick and ban phase by taking that Sivir into Lulu, being okay, in case you want to take the AD carry, we will have a composition that can dive it. We have the tools ready, even when we are kind of blind picking it before we see your AD carry. And Bang has just been having a great performance. He's not been the highlight, but he's always doing so much damage in these fights. He's just consistently doing so well.
Have to remember that that Riven was picked at the end. Counter-picking. Oh, Hojin gets critted down immediately. A bit of Luden's Echo on the end there. Wild Growth goes onto him. Everything's been used in defense. They can't get the engages they want. It's the KOO Tigers. They love to engage, but are consistently engaged on this game by SKT and their confidence.
This time around, though, SKT wanted a little bit more. Faker even jumped in and had to flash out instantly, so he didn't get to assassinate anyone. Recalling on a ward.
There aren't many mistakes that SKT has made in this tournament. I mean, the first one might have happened when they went to gank Pawn on Echo when Ryze was still level 1 Faker. or Faker was still level 1 Rise, I should say, you're not going to get a Rune Prison out of him. But other than that, we really haven't seen them make too many mistakes here. They got a victory.
This was a pretty tricky play because Hojin was trying to kick them back while SKT would be trying to finish this turret, and they get them low enough that they kind of commit over the wall. But now their focus is split between the fight and the turret. You could see Bang was finishing off the turret because they couldn't dive on the turret. But Bengi was all about the fight right there. That would have been a safer play to just have Faker be in while Bang took the turret, and Bengi overextended a little bit.
In the end, though, worth it for SK Telecom because they get the tower down, they break into the base once again. They have now 2 inhibitors they can take down. One of them is already gone. The next one should be coming soon. SKT back out, split pushing. One of the things they do with Rek'Sai very often in the late game, Bengi will just be the guy controlling the wave in one lane, just pushing it in. He's not going to kill anyone, but then he will join for the fight. Of course, he has a tunnel here, just behind SKT in case they need him.
You can actually see, though, the lack of Void Staff on SKT is starting to get punished a little bit by Smeb and the rest of KOO's builds. They're building a fair bit of MR right now, and since SKT was very mid-game item priorities by going flat penetration on the Rumble and no magic penetration on Faker, Faker with a death cap and about 600 AP got a full combo off on Smeb and didn't take him below 75% health. Obviously, SKT still has massive map control.
SK tilt.
SKT just tilting.
Not the case in this game.
Definitely not the case. Oh. But no Void Staff on the way. It looks like Marin will complete his build sans Void Staff, and Faker will need to build it as his 6th item.
Incredible play so far coming from SKT. A bit of a lead to KOO in the beginning when they got the early kills, but everything punished that SKT could has been punished. Sterik's Gauge now onto Bang. They're able to put some different items in their pockets here, keeping him that much more safe. As you were saying, that magic resistance getting picked up. Prey has a null magic mantle just to stop from being zeroed out immediately. And hopefully they can stay alive a bit longer here as they protect their inhibitors.
It is very hard for SKT to fight here in the base, though, because the flanking option is not really there. Obviously, KOO Tigers have the Nexus turrets behind them. Finally, Prey sits next to his Lulu and his Alistar, so he's very safe. SKT respects it now. They're saying, okay, we don't want to risk it. Wait for Baron to spawn. Draw them out of this base here. Start warding up the topside jungle. At some point, KOO Tigers will come and face check. Then you get the big fight, because there's so many ways then for Kassadin to flank behind.
And that's really the story here. And SKT has been the best team at recognizing the right play to make at the right moment. So even though they've had 32-minute games, you wouldn't expect SKT to overpress the tempo right here. They're at 4 dragons. Knowing the next dragon is going to be up in 5 minutes, they can get that. In the meanwhile, the Baron will come up. They can take that, slow push the wave in the top lane, maybe get down the 3rd inhibitor turret. Because, as we were talking about, they do not have the long-range AD carry. They do not have flank opportunities within the KOO base. And KOO can hold their own base quite well. However, if that's with a Baron buff and with 5 dragons, then SKT can crack it, which is why SKT's opportunity is in the here and now. As Baron respawns, they need to kill KOO within their own jungle.
4 items now for Prey. Lulu to buff him up as well with a death cap completed. It is just so hard for him because of the fact there's a Sivir ulti, the Kassadin, the Rumble ulti. There's so many things that's going towards him. Even Flash Taunt from a Shen can be enough to win the fight for SKT. So you put in this impossible situation as an AD carry, where you have to deal the maximum amount of damage, but there's also so many ways you can die at the same time. Here's one of them.
Marin throws the equalizer down. They're able to split from the red carpet, trying to get back into their own base. The Zanya's on Faker, makes Prey take 1 step too close, but he is able to get out with the Wild Growth. Eyes on to Smeb now. Everybody actually focused that. Gorilla's able to come back in, but only hits Faker, and it leaves the backline completely open. Kuro and Prey fall immediately, using both summoners that they can. Teleport still up for Kuro, but it wouldn't have helped anyways.
SKT could not stop chasing KOO. KOO could not fall back fast enough. Prey kited his heart out, but it wasn't enough. SKT used Zonius properly, ran down the fight, and they'll win the game.
That's going to be SKT earlier than what their longest game would be. That was 43-30. They put a stop to that. It's a 42-minute game 1. SKT is 2 wins away from the Summoners Cup.
And we just have to look at this early game here. When a Kassadin with no teleport managed to have more of an impact than Koro here on this Lulu, it looked very, very bad for KOO Tigers because Faker just kept roaming between the lanes. And again, whenever I felt there was an opening for the KOO Tigers to do something, they reacted a little bit too slow, maybe a little bit too afraid. They couldn't punish whatever small mistakes were left by SKT. So they never got that chance to really get.
It was a little bit strange that it wasn't picked nor banned in the first game. So KOO Tigers kind of going back to that Fiora well, hoping
Yeah.
that Smeb can carry the game.
I think the reason KOO Tigers didn't want to play it last game, obviously Rumble was picked, they wanted the Riven matchup into it, but also because Shin was in the game on the side of SK Telecom. So it was going to be very difficult to beat that split pusher. Riven can go in and flank a teamfight and kind of burst down one target more, and have some AoE at least, where the Fiora does not, very single target focused. Now because Alistar goes in as the second support, once Tahm Kench is gone, people go Alistar very often.
Right.
Shin was available for KOO Tigers. They could run the Fiora. They will have this insane split push now with Smeb and double global for both jungle pick and support pick. KOO Tigers should be able to set up a very good split pushing scenario here for Smeb.
As KT throwing together a little AoE in their composition with Rumble again for Marin. Bang will pick up Jarvan for Bengi in the jungle.
Well, this I think will be extremely interesting. Marin was free to pick the Rumble into Smeb's Fiora last game, and then KOO opted for a different matchup.
Yeah.
I think Marin is very confident in Rumble against Fiora. We've been waiting for people to kind of find the right Fiora counterpick. Was it Darius? Well, no, that kind of fell apart. It was a Renekton in some games unless you built in an extremely proper way and had your whole team helping you. Now I think we're going to get to see the best kind of anti-Fiora matchup possible. We thought maybe it would be Lissandra.
We were
because that's one
hoping
of
at
Marin's
least.
big picks, but maybe it's going to be the Rumble. We're going to have to see how this matchup plays out.
At least Rumble can be very difficult to dive in the early game. Often what happens if you're losing the lane, you get pushed into a tower, jungler shows up. Rumble ulti and his tankiness makes it difficult, at least, to kill him. What are we looking at here?
Support Shen, top Fiora.
AD carry Shin.
Carry Kennen.
Oh, sorry, AD carry Kennen. AD carry Shin.
You had the ninja.
AD carry Kennen.
No, I love this. This is pretty much comfort zone for everyone on KOO,
Yeah.
except you could say Prey because he hasn't competitively played Kennen AD carry. But specifically, when they were preparing for Fnatic, he prepared this as a pick to go against Reckless, who was playing so much AD Kennen in case they'd have to take it away.
Yeah.
So he's very practiced on this AD Kennen at this point.
And Kennen is very good into a lot of these hyper carries because, first of all, he has a fine laning phase against them. Once he gets a Cutlass and the Blade of the Ruined King, he's very strong 1v1. So this AD carry cannot sit on his own in the side lane and risk taking a duel with the Kennen. They can try and farm out. That's why Tristan also comes in here for Bang. It's one of the safer AD carries at sitting and farming up in the side lane. But really, KOO Tigers are building for a 1-3-1 setup. Insane split push coming from Smeb with Rek'Sai and Shin joining him. Wave clear in the mid lane from the Victor. Very standard KOO Tigers composition from what we've seen here at Worlds. And SKT obviously saying, well, let's go team fight. Hard engage Jarvan, we're gonna take the fights.
In this case, I do like the amount of AoE damage and crowd control the KOO can put together, because typically teams that have Lulu in the mid lane do tend to group up in fairly small balls of people. So therefore, the AoE from KOO Tigers will be able to hit SKT a little bit harder. It'll be very interesting, though, to see how this mid lane matchup goes, because both guys have opted into Ignite.
Yeah, we're gonna fight in this mid lane here. Koro's saying, you know
sure
what?
hope so.
My teleport didn't work last time. I'm gonna try now and duel this Lulu. If I can push in Faker, suddenly he can be the guy roaming and assisting the lanes like Faker did in the last game.
Been a quiet mid lane for this Worlds tournament. Usually you hear the top laners are on an island, but the mid laners have been very soft in their back and forth. It's a few times for Faker, a few other solos throughout the tournament, but more than not, like we said, Faker, not really a playmaker this time. It's more about the rest of the team. We'll see if that turns tides here with Ignite in the mid lane. Keep updating your Twitter votes throughout this series. Send that hashtag KOO win or hashtag SKT win to @LOL Esports, and we can see how you are calling this as we get on to the Rift. Game 2 of this best of 5 here in Berlin at the World Championship Finals. SKT 2 wins away, I should say, from the Summoners Cup, hoisting it once again. It will be the only team to have those 2 wins at Worlds.
There were no huge surprises in Game 1, aside from the fact that SKT played around Cassian incredibly well. KOO Tigers wasn't really able to do anything with the minor advantages they had gained in the early game. Because remember, first game, SKT played a very defensive early game strategy, did not get any deep wards, and were vulnerable to a little bit of a KOO Tigers counter invade later into the game, where they outnumbered the number of jungle camps that SKT could take and gained a very early experience advantage. KOO does need to jump on SKT early because they were able to do it in Game 1.
And Origin last week was supposed to be the guys who could maybe create an upset, take a game against SK Telecom. They did really well in Game 1. KOO Tigers had a good early game at least, but then we saw it fall apart. I wonder when you face a team like SK Telecom and you're mentally trying to be so ready and say, this is where I'm gonna play the best game of my life. I'm gonna take down SKT, I'm gonna take down Faker, take the trophy, run away with it. He's not gonna get his hands on it. And then you lose that first game. It is so hard to then rebound into Game 2 because like you just had everything invested into one game. It didn't work for you. Origin, I feel like, had the same problem. We're gonna have to see if KOO Tigers can show up in game 2.
That's the thing about SKT is you can take them down in every facet, but if you haven't chipped away at their mentality, they are still very much so in the game.
Yeah, and we've been talking a lot about like what will it take for SKT to lose a game? Because SKT is so fluid and reactive, and we got to talking, we're saying like, oh, SKT, they just do things by the book. But then the question is like, what book? What book are you doing that tells you how to play this perfect League of Legends? Because what they're able to do is make the right play across the board, which is so fascinating and so difficult to do in League of Legends because you are 5 individuals trying to play as one. And that's really what makes SK Telecom so far this year at Worlds, is their ability to play as an absolute team.
Yeah, and that's really the scary thing. A team with so many carry players, insane mechanics, top lane, 80 carry, mid lane as well. And when you then add in what I feel is the best shot calling we see from a team in League of Legends, and really the main thing for SK Telecom, how quick they can make these decisions, reading, okay, Miniwave is pushing one lane, so we need to defend there, move down, and then keep always rotating around.
Right, and Wolf successfully pushes them off of Uma, which is, again, kind of a smart play, and do they see a big opportunity? Because normally KOO should funnel to Raptors, now Marin's there.
Marin charging the Flame Spinner, he came in with his gauge over half. Level 1 turret dive, Bengi definitely messed that up. Can they get snapped? Marin's gonna go down here too. SKT go way too hard in the early game.
This is what they call the caster curse. You talk about it.
Play by the book, Jan.
Play it by the book, capitalize on opponent missteps, never overstep your bounds. I was just gonna say SKT has been the perfect low-risk, medium-reward team, but by double flashing into the turret at 2.5 minutes, that was a high-risk, low to medium reward play. SKT completely out of character, and KOO Tigers get 2 kills in the early game.
They were in such a good position. Just push these guys out of the jungle, force them to recall. You're now way ahead in the lane swap. Go up, take your tower. Marin now.
It snowballs because they do not have the support from the others.
This is exactly what we didn't see last game. These turrets were being pushed by only members of the opposite team. Now SKT tries to defend that turret, and they cost them their life. 2 lives to go down. Now Bengi just came back from being dead. It's going to be a real long walk to get back into his jungle. Great turret aggro trading, and that's Gorilla coming in for the final kill. 1 last shot, he's still alive. It's a 3rd shot that will take him down. He gets caught up in his own minions.
Even so, things have gone from bad to worse, and that is the collateral damage or just the extended loss of what SKT did in the jungle of KOO Tigers. They completely fell apart for about 1.5 minutes. Let's see if they can recover.
If KOO Tigers didn't feel confident going into game 2, they do now. 4 kills, 4 minutes in, and such a greedy play just from SKT, sending Marin down with no flash to sit in this bottom lane. Bengi didn't go anywhere on the map. Either he had to go top and dive Smep like we saw Hojin do right here, or he had to just try and farm it up, but that would mean his top laner could die. Going down to defend him this late would never really do anything. And KOO Tigers just a step ahead of SKT, punish him in this lane swap completely. Smep is level 3, 16 CS. He's going to be more than fine now.
Yeah, and maybe if SKT could have had both Bengi and Marin under the turret at the same time.
Yes.
But even that's a little bit dangerous because they're both down flashes from the earlier play. Really, just a series of errors by SKT that were capitalized on by KOO by doing that turret dive. Now the question will be, where does KOO go from here? Because they haven't been able to push their advantages extremely well, except in the group stages, actually, when they're able to do it against CLG repetitively.
Well, already an uncharacteristic game for KOO here. Usually we say Hojin sits back, waits for the counter. They were so proactive in those engages. I don't think they're going to be stopping anytime soon, but definitely need to focus that Hojin giving the kills to his lanes now. He's 2-0-2, doesn't need too much more as an early game jungler. We'll see if he can help the other members get going on the team. Gorilla heading back down towards the bottom lane. They're looking to make some plays, trade that damage. They know these little upper hands in the lane are really going to go far throughout the game. Wolf, level 2, his flash is still down. He's going to be forced to just do some triumphant roars if he's even leveled it here.
KOO Tigers keep playing around the lanes where SKT has no flashes from that level 1. Marin still missing his flash, Wolf of course missing his flash, so they knew, okay, they're overextending on the bottom side, make a play, because right now Smep is just sitting on his own up top lane. He's getting solo experience, he's more than fine again.
And this would actually be the book that you play by if you're KOO Tigers. You see a small hole in the opponent armor, you hit it again and again and again until those flashes are up again. They're completely happy with Smeb farming, and they know if they continue to hit SKT's weak spot, SKT will continue to send defenses down there, which means they won't be stopping Smeb on the other side either. So things going very well for KOO Tigers.
Assistance ping called in by Hojin here. Looks like they want to make a move in towards the jungle. Wolf Spirit did moves, but Faker I don't think caught that. He'll still be safe to get out of this. But this is the first action we've seen towards mid lane. Faker and KOO are probably like, what is going on around us right now?
Well, Faker is happy in the lane so far. He's winning quite easily. I didn't see if KOO had to leave the mid lane, maybe to try and rush down and be part of this tower dive, even though he never got any assist, so he's not really been able to add any value there. But it does obviously mess a little bit with you as a player. You suddenly have to leave at level 1 to join a weird fight behind you. It can set you behind. I think that's what happened in this mid lane. It is still fairly even.
Even though I actually think it was Faker that pushed up a little bit into the turret as well, so maybe a few CS lost early by KOO. I will say though, KOO, even when they're in large deficits, has always been able to have massive impact in team fights on Victor. I think it's really exciting to see how he can deal against Faker's Lulu, who's very high pressure mid laner trying to roam. And Victor's, I think, a pretty good pick against that because he can counter shove the lane very easily after Lulu does that and kind of match the roams.
And as you mentioned earlier yourself, when you're against the Lulu, you don't want too much single target damage because she's gonna shield that guy, buff him up with ulti. You want massive AoE. Victor will offer that. Smeb, nice little play here, can riposte the damage coming in from Bang.
And in that melee, KOO knows exactly what he's doing. 8-2 over the summer split with an 8.5 KDA on Victor.
Victor was his pick.
Yes.
He brought it into the meta and it started a spring split. And then everyone was like, oh, Victor, he's extremely strong. Let's all start playing him, and we still play him half a year later.
We'll see what he can continue to do. Like we said, not much action to the mid lane. Everybody else getting themselves going. Hojin still 2-0-2 as things have kind of slowed down. A little breather for both teams as they get full 3 levels under the turret. They have all the skills to get out or get in if necessary. Hojin. KOO actually got some nice deep wards that have already been cleared out so far. So we'll see if they can get themselves back into that jungle and ward it up.
I would have liked to see SKT say, you know what, guys, we've been losing now this one-on-one between, obviously, the top laners or the AD carry versus the top laner. And our own top laner, the Rumble, is sitting and having to share experience with our support. So he's really far behind. It's going to be a tough dive for Benki.
Yeah, sub-level 6, Jarvan. Riposte will be up very shortly for Smeb, but they're going anyways.
Goes back towards the turret, trying to keep himself in between the wall. That's the flash out. Can't get the grand challenge onto Bang. Smeb will not go down from that, I don't think. He should stay alive. He has just a sliver of health. This has to be going back.
Oh!
He misses the strike, but he does get the auto as Smeb flashes in range, unfortunately. Those are some fast fingers you got to play to get out of that situation. I think SKT had it either way. Flash for flash, though, as the kill goes down.
SKT clearly said, okay, Bang, keep pushing the lane, you might be able to get a tower, then we will swap the lanes back. Rumble should recall from this bottom side once Tristana appears in the lane, get him into that one-on-one against Fiora so he gets some experience, but I feel it's almost too late for Morin. He's falling almost too far behind in experience. It's very important they got that 1 kill at least. That was all they were keeping Bang for. Keep pushing in the lane, try and get the tower. He didn't get it though, because they took the kill instead.
Smeb's been doing a very nice job on Bang, getting that damage down, pushing him off the waves, not allowing it to always be at the turret. Definitely saved his life for a little bit longer than necessary there. Did see him go down, blow his flash, but he is coming back with a Tiamat, so that's only going to get easier for him to farm that lane out and be somewhere else for his team when necessary.
Absolutely, and Smeb with the 2 deaths as well. It's actually not too out of character for what KOO has been doing so far at Worlds. He actually has given up more first bloods than any other player at Worlds. So he does die early in lane somewhat frequently with the aggressiveness in which he plays. That time, he had been poked down pretty low by Tristana. He thought he could outplay the dive. He has a lot of confidence in his ability to outplay because more often than not, especially in team fights, he does. But this time it cost him.
Good play though from SKT in the end. Kind of saving Morin here. He was falling really far behind in experience early on. A full level is a lot when it comes to these 1v1s, especially when one of them is a Fiora who needs to get punished in the early game, otherwise she will outscale you. Going in on Morin now, he has flash ready.
Morin throws down the equalizer. That does not look like a good situation for him, though. Very nice flash over the wall. He's got full vision here, but he doesn't have vision behind Baron. Instantly lasered down by KOO, and his Victor just gets a kill. He just walked up lane and got it. Faker's still farming there, and he's not going to lose any minions as he comes back.
Wow, and a small interaction there. Wolf actually gives Gorilla a gift because the Shen ult was coming in, but Wolf interrupted him, so now they get to keep the 2v2 as well. They get the global presence from the Shen shield during their dive, and they don't lose the map pressure for it either.
Same thing as we saw in the last game against the Lulu. You push her into this tower, she stays there, she tries to farm it up, push it back, and then you roam to the other lanes. Bengi gonna find Smith now. There's ulti on this Jarvan, so you can lock him down at least.
A lot of love from Bengi on this med lane. Cataclysm down. Flame Spitter should be able to take Smeb out quite quickly.
There's Hogan.
Up with the kill though. He makes it. Grand Challenge is down, so this is all about Smeb's abilities. Flame Spitter finishes him off, but Marin is overheated as he makes his way out now with the scrap shield. He should be okay. This is Kuro's second roam. That means his mid is open, but it pays off with kill number 2.
Kuro has been out roaming Faker this game, and Smeb comes up huge with that play. But everything happens up top, means time to fight down bottom.
Once SKT sees an opening, they take it. That's Unbreakable Will on. Slicing Maelstrom's gonna put a bit of crowd control. They need to stop Bang from dishing out to DPS, but it looks like they won that trade nicely. They'll be able to sit back in lane as Wolf tries to heal it up.
SKT with their bottom lane here picked against the cannon, saying we have a headbutt, we have buster shot, we have so many ways of shooting you away from us when you pop that ulti. So it's gonna be hard for Prey to kill this lane, but he's not here to kill the lane. He's here just to support the rest of the team in the fights, because right now, you have 2 kills on your top laner. He's been getting solo experience, and you just ganked the lane and got more kills for him.
Yeah, and I think this is another time to call attention to the itemization timings.
Yep.
Last game, Bengi was at 16 minutes before he completed Sightstorm. He had a Cinder Hulk, which gave him very good combat effectiveness. This time, Bengi has an early Sightstone, less combat effectiveness when he goes up to try and kill Smeb, weakens him enough for Smeb to be able to kill him, and is one of the major reasons KOO ended up winning that trade. Because SKT's been on the back foot, they're warding more, but it means Bengi can't actually take fights.
Oh, he knocks him up inside the gravity field. Flag and drag
Melee
over the
laser.
wall. Not much they can follow there. The flash is already down from Kuro. Does he want it? That gives him the speed. And he gets the last auto in for the 3rd kill of the game.
Everything is going wrong for SKT right now. This is a play we normally don't see. Bengi walks into the enemy jungle to place a ward when his own mid lane is back in base. Faker wasn't even nearby, so he was all alone. Gets caught out. Faker now wants to kill Kuro.
Oh, what a turn.
Faker pressuring Kuro here. Flashes in, gets the kill. Looks like there was a little of bot lane as well, but they turned off of that. Faker getting it right back for himself.
I feel like Faker just completely turned this game because it looked like KOO was making play after play and never breaking the momentum. The 3-man gank that they were prepping bottom lane, I think absolutely could have worked, but the instant Faker kills Kuro there, the entire team pulls off the gank. Alistar ultimate was still down, so they could have been able to focus him. At that point, Faker turns the kill around, gets the shutdown on Kuro, knows that Kuro will use a lot of his summoner spells and power to get the kill on Bengi, and it's the right time to go aggressive.
It's top lane, man. Smeb is just getting further and further ahead. And
He's the one with the lead now.
remember, SKT decided to put Marin down to the bottom lane. They decided to keep him there with the Alistar for such a long time, sharing experience. Replay from before. This is where it goes, you know, away from the by the book plays, because these are the kind of outplays a team like SKT can make.
This is the choose your own adventure.
Right. When everything looks terrible, they're making some mistakes, they get one of these solo plays. Top lane might see a dive though.
I think they saw a little bit too much behind Marin to really keep wanting that. Hojin in a bad spot, and it looks like the team is going to leave him out to dry. That is not going to be good. KOO had that lead. It is being squeezed smaller and smaller by SKT's moves.
Bang and Wolf were there when KOO did not expect them to be there. So that was just catching them off guard and in a bad timing right here. Kuro able to get the blue, which is actually pretty clutch, and this could end up being a trade of turrets.
Should do. This tower is so low on the top side, we know Prey can't join. Same with Faker though, he's also on the bottom lane.
Kuro has moved to defend, so they're actually trying to save this turret as best as possible, and they pushed SKT off of it.
Teleport's going to be up for Marin, but his ultimate is following very slowly on that one. Hojin onto Bang. Bang jumps nicely over the wall, makes it to safety. Wolf's gonna headbutt himself a little bit further towards the turret. Looks like they could be safe here. That teleport's there for Marin, but he's gonna stay. The team calls safe. No problems from KOO here, as KOO again attempt to get themselves even farther ahead.
Yeah, well, they definitely repelled the pressure that was on their turret. Then they let it die to minions because they were too aggressive there. So really unfortunate move there for KOO. But I really love the way Bang counterplayed that gank. He doesn't want to try and rocket jump over the Rek'Sai because the Rek'Sai will unburrow and interrupt the jump. So he was very patient with the way he used that to jump around. Marin takes a shortcut, but it's not a good one.
Oh, Hojin over the wall. It's not even gonna be necessary. He does get the assist though in the end. And that is gonna be Kuro 4-1-0 now.
Another really sloppy mistake here from SKT. KOO Tigers were just fighting on the top side of the map to walk into your jungle, and you didn't just walk straight through the mid lane. And not really sure how Marin got caught out of position in the first place by moving up there. Ends up dying. KOO's 4 kills now on this Victor. It's gonna be so key in the late game fights.
And this is the worst I've seen Marin play at Worlds. Early game, he flashes under the turret to try and get like a refund kill when it's definitely going to be his death. And then again here in the mid lane with the 5th death.
Slicing Maelstrom, they are going to call in the TP. Smeb's in. Is that a fight that they can take here? Unbreakable Will is down, so it's definitely an option to go for Wolf. Marin's going to join the fight, and he lays down the red carpet for Smeb to enter, and it looks like Smeb will go down as he hits the front door. Somehow, Wolf stays alive.
In the end, it's KOO Tigers investing a teleport to try and create a play where, honestly, they just want to have this 1 versus 1 in top lane. They don't need to try and join in for these fights. Just let Smeb do his job on his own. Because then SKT has to send up multiple guys to help Marin kill Smeb, and that's where you get your openings.
Yeah, I agree, but when you're in a position to take down SK Telecom, what type of decisions will you make? Here, KOO does see a window because SKT burns Lulu ult and an exhaust onto Prey early on, which means Smeb thinks he's free to go in, but the matching teleport way in the back has Smeb tunnel. He's out of mana by the time he goes in, so he can't dash to proc the last vital. I like the idea of putting the vitals on the Alistar because you're doing % health true damage every time you proc the vital. Therefore, you can take down Alistar in an Unbreakable Will, but he was not respecting the teleport and absolutely should have disengaged.
Yeah, and that was the weird thing, not respecting the TP, and he was recalling top lane. He was like, okay, back to base, got a lot of gold probably. And then he's like, oh, I have to react now, try and help my AD carry down on the bottom side. Those kind of plays can cost KOO Tigers a lot, because now obviously setting up that split push is going to be more difficult with no flash for Fiora and no teleport for her. Might slow down the game a little bit for SKT, give them more chance to farm again. You still don't have really anything completed for your AD carry. Faker has been doing well in the mid lane, but he's obviously not going to be the main damage dealer on your team.
Looks like SKT still wants to make plays. Early distortion mobility for Wolf so he can get the flash pulverizers in to start things off. He does have that wild growth we just saw save his life if Unbreakable Will is down. A lot of options to go in. It's like Wolf and Bengi are going to be Bash Brothers here starting off these fights once they get the chance.
Yeah, typically though, because of the gold deficit, we have to see a much craftier SKT. They can't just make the brute force outnumber plays that they could last game when they had big advantages. Here they have to be very creative, make KOO overcommit, and play from behind, which is what SKT has been able to do very well in the past, but they are in a much different position than in Game 1.
And KOO really wants to have an impact right now, or keep his impact going, because he's obviously had a great start to the game. Morel Normicon, it means you can go for your magic penetration boots, so your mid-game damage is very, very high on the Victor. Obviously delays your late-game items a little bit, but he wants to fight at the moment. He wants to be able to one-shot someone from SKT.
I think that something that is very strange about this game is that we're 19 minutes in and the first dragon has not been taken. KOO Tigers has had what should be pretty good map control, but they have consistently been prepping turret dives and going for kills instead of securing the objective per se. Even with the global pressure of the Rek'Sai and the Shen, you'd think they would have gone for that already. But if we do see a big fight here, it would be around the Dragon Pit because that's what SKT is trying to draw in here with the mid-game Lulu Trist. This is super dangerous to Fischio.
This is so risky for SKT. There's 2 items already on Prey. He's joining in as well. If there's a fight, KOO Tigers should be able to win it.
Well, Gorilla was coming down like he wanted that fight.
Just gonna take mid tower instead.
Yeah, push mid.
Yeah, this is the counterplay right now. SKT may sacrifice mid lane, but if they can trade bottom turret for mid turret and get the dragon, it's a giant win for them right now. They're keeping Bang bottom, and as long as they can defend tier 2, this is a huge win for SKT.
Smeb wanted to stay top lane and push it out, but again, he had no teleport. It was used in that fight earlier where he ended up dying, so he couldn't join in time. They're pushing the tower.
Because they see the Trist bottom, they wanted to push the inner middle turret right there, but you can really see that with the Lulu and the Rumble there, the turret push just isn't happening. Now KOO is trying to get deeper vision within the SKT jungle, but as you can see, SKT's really contesting almost everything.
This is where they're hoping KOO makes a mistake. A lot of damage onto Smeb, but very nice parry on the flag and drag. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get the damage they want. Gorilla goes in the middle of the fight with a nice flash and KOO. Gorilla goes down. Here comes Kuro. Throws down the Chaos Storm. It's all over Wolf, though. Oh, nice flash over the wall from Faker. And he glitter lances over the Krugs and gets away so he does not take too much damage. Somehow every member of SKT is alive, but KOO is still on the chase. Marin dodging out the damage of the laser means there's not much follow-up to be had.
And this whole time, Bang is pushing the bottom tier turret. This is SKT winning all across the map.
SKT saw KOO Tigers split up and said, let's put down the Rumble ulti, let's try and lock down Fiora in the Rumble ulti. No flash for Smeb to get out of it. That's how SKT starts the fight. And Prey, he left the bottom side to run all the way to top lane, try and join, didn't manage to, ends up losing another tower.
This is the craftiness that we were talking about with SKT, and one of the most underrated parts of Rumble Ultimate is the range in which you can use it. Look where Marin is right here when he decides to cut them off with Equalizer. He landed the second half, and he completely cuts off the funnel. So when Bengi comes over the top, he does lock them within the Equalizer, not to mention the split up right there, and it's miraculous of SKT to have everyone survive throughout that fight.
Fantastic plays all around. They're able to take down Wolf here. This will help them get towards the turrets a little bit more, but you still have Faker, you still have Marin to clear the waves. What play from both teams so far? 10-9, still a slight gold lead by 1,000 in favor of KOO, and it's not something, like we said, SKT has worked with very much, being down. They're usually the team up by at least 2,000 to 3,000 at this point.
Yeah, and that's why, again, it's so impressive how they can use every single advantage they find. Oh, okay, you just invested all your summoners as a top laner. We know we can engage on you now. There's an opening. We know there's no split pushing pressure because TP is down. So, like, it bought a lot of time for SKT to make some plays as a team, group together as 5, out-rotate the KOO Tigers, and then pick the right team fights as well. Really well played, and KOO Tigers are learning, okay, we cannot split up like this. We have to stay together because the engage from the Jarvan and the hard engage option he brings is too high for us to split up. Because we have so many squishy members. I mean, the only real tank on this team is gonna be Hojin sitting in the front. Shen is not gonna be tanky enough as a support to really stay in the front line.
I think it's gonna be a huge balance though, because Smeb needs to be able to split push, and they need to be able to disengage some of these team fights. That's the whole reason he's picking the Fiora, but SKT brings some friends.
Grand challenge in, cannot get the last hit. Gorilla way too deep here. Use Stand United to get on Smeb, but Smeb turned from the fight immediately. He's trying to get the hits onto Bang. That's going to be the explosive shot, taking him down. Bang knew he could get the kill easily. SKT working well within their champion's capabilities here.
You said it yourself here before, Jad. SKT, or KOO Tigers, sorry, have to be able to split push. They had used another teleport from Smeb to get 1 kill on Wolf in the mid lane. So once again, that global is gone. They're not using this Fiora at all. Keep burning the teleports for absolutely nothing. This one obviously was just Bang returning to the bot side. Really, really smart decision from him. Ends up getting a 2-for-0 trade.
And the trouble here for KOO is it's also so hard for Smeb to exist well in team fights. Lulu polymorph, also slow and somewhat reliable damage from SKT, does not get parried well. One of the biggest things about Smeb in their semifinal against Fnatic is he was parrying or riposting giant CCs, Skarner ultimate, Riven stuns, huge bursts of damage, but that isn't the way SKT's composition is built. It's sustained damage over time and good crowd control. So really, Smeb needs to be smarter about these split pushes because SKT is consistently outwitting him. He can win the 1v1 against Rumble, but he's overcommitted.
We've also seen it's very hard for Smeb to hit all of the vitals with the amount of pop-ups. The flag and drag Bengi used twice in the last fight to stay away from those vitals and give Smeb his HP back on Grand Challenge. A lot of things work against KOO Tigers in these fights.
One of the reasons Lulu has been seen as one of these really, really power picks in this meta is because she works so well against all these top lane carries. Like, oh, you want to single down one guy with your Fiora ulti. He has everything invested from Lulu to save that guy. Whimsy comes in. Against like Darius, you can just kite him for days. She works extremely well against all the top lane carries. So SKT were happy enough taking that in that rotation, where KOO Tigers said that apparently they were fine giving more of a protector AD carry comp to SKT. And I still think it was okay for KOO. They just haven't been able to, once again, to use their lead properly. They keep making these small mistakes on the map, how they want to use the globals, when do they want to assert pressure on one side, and that's what SKT is punishing every single time.
SKT working very well proactively throughout the tournament, always waiting for a team to make mistakes. Marin's going to have to respect this push towards the top side, but they're calling up Bang as well. This actually may be a fight. Smeb pushed up very far here, but he does have some friends in the river that could head up.
Very creative what they're doing right here. They're keeping Lulu as the wave pusher, they're actually not playing 3 lanes right here like they usually do, because they are consistently trying to lay traps for Smith, hoping he goes for kills on Marin, and then turning. How often do you see an 80 carry waiting for a counter gank? Second time for SKT.
Smeb lunge to get away. Looks like it will be enough of the distance to get out of any danger. That Dragon is alive, though. We've only seen one on the map now. 26 minutes in, could be Dragon number 2. It's both teams kind of hold hands as they make their way down the river to get that vision.
If SKT starts the Dragon instantly, if they know the exact time of teleport, they will get a 5 versus 4, but then they will lose top tower. So I think it's better to send Marin back to this tower, push out the wave, and then look for KOO Tigers to make a move before you decide to do anything. And that's exactly what they're doing now. Just don't early TP down and like just 5-man the Dragon. Wait to see the play happening, and this is what's going to happen for KOO Tigers.
Really good Zhonya's.
Drill that'll pierce the heavens. Can Marin do it? A 4v1 situation. It looks like he will go down as all 5 members of KOO are towards the top side. That's going to mean Dragon, and they don't really have a wave to get a push on.
That was a very greedy play by Marin to be under the turret, but at the same time, SKT is going to try and make that work. With committing the 4-man dive, what will SKT get out of that? They actually defended the turret, traded his life for the Dragon, and a mid-inner.
This is one of the reasons SKT wants to play Rumble against teams who can split push against it, because on the turret, he can do so much damage before he goes down. He always builds Hourglass early as well, which delays him going down. So even with it was greedy for Marin to get under that tower, it bought enough time for SKT to take 2 objectives, a tower, and of course the Dragon here. So really, really well played from SKT. But also KOO Tigers investing everything to try and get 1 kill.
You always know if it takes too long to do something, it's not worth. That's what the Zhonya's is helping to promote for SKT here as they're getting pushed back ever so slowly. But in their pushes, or in, I should say, KOO's pushes, SKT is able to get more around the map than what KOO is getting out of the champions of SKT. 11-11 in kills. The gold is pretty much tied up here. Just a small lead and what would be probably minions in the lane over to SKT. They have 2 dragons in their favor, and they haven't let KOO get very many throughout game 1 or game 2. A lot of control on the map for SKT.
Yeah, and SKT with the Rumble and the Lulu kind of have a double AP composition working, but there's still no Aegis on the side of the KOO Tigers. And they're not even close to one either. So this is a little bit troubling for KOO, since their split pushing has been getting counter ganked by 80 carries, and their team fighting isn't necessarily itemized for, whereas the power spikes are hitting for SKT with the death cap on the Lulu and the last Whisper onto Bang.
You do have your Shen ulti very soon. You have teleport for Smep, so he needs to sit on the bottom side, and the 4 members from KOO Tigers has to take over the Baron. They need to control it, because then you get 2 openings. Either one, you get the one-on-one bot lane with the Shen ulti and you 2v1 kill, obviously onto Marin when he's sitting on the tower. Or, if they try and make a play, you just go in towards and force the Baron, like this.
A lot of miscommunication in that engage. Bang uses both summoners to get himself out with Wild Growth. Gorilla's the focus now on the other side. Prey, he branches off from the team, and here comes Marin on the TP. Zhonya's is down, but he's gonna get gravity fielded. No, he wasted enough time inside that he didn't, but KOO is able to assess the fight very well, get themselves back in after choosing the right target. Bangy, flag, and drag away. Doesn't look like KOO has any more priority targets. They lose 2, however, in that fight from splitting up so much in the beginning.
Marin teleported in a good 2 or 3 seconds before Smeb made his presence known in that team fight, and that's the reason that SKT ends up getting a 2-for-1, because a fight in which Bang gets caught at the beginning should almost never lead to an SKT 2-for-1.
Exactly.
But they do lose the turret afterwards because some nice damage was returned by KOO Tigers. Really interesting chain of events.
Wolf goes in, Bang shooting somebody else. They still get out alive. However, they can turn situations around so fast to be in their favor and make it work. Still just repairing the lanes now, because that wasn't the best of situations they came out of. Coming up on 30 minutes here. These games are definitely going longer than SKT's average, so they have to put a little more effort in to this mid-game area, where, as we say, KOO should be shining.
Sadly for KOO Tigers, Smep had to use ulti, teleport again. So now he's no longer on the bottom side. You can no longer make that Fiora Shen play very easily, because you will lose all your pressure around Baron as he can then start it. So the whole setup for KOO Tigers with having that 1v1 just keeps getting delayed again and again and again. And Smep really has been struggling to do a whole lot with that early lead he got, because he's constantly being put into team fights.
So much of split pushing is about forcing the enemy team into decisions, and half the reason it works is because it's so difficult to coordinate everyone to do exactly the right thing and find the openings. But SKT has been the best team at Worlds this year, as well as having some of the best players. And I think that teamwork is one of the things that's stopping this split push from being so effective, aside from Smeb being a little bit slow on the uptake in some of his plays.
And we can't really blame KOO Tigers for looking at that last fight and saying, oh, we can catch the AD carry, we should go for it. But normally that's not what they wanted to do. They wanted to just have control of the Baron River and wait for Smeb to make a play 1v1 against Marin. They were gonna wait for him because he was supposed to be the strong member here, the guy who can win his lane consistently, where every time there's a team fight, it's more 50-50 between the teams here. So their safe play was gonna be Smeb making a move with Shen ulti. That didn't happen because obviously they saw Bang a little bit out of position, they went for it, but that was basically what SKT wanted. Because now we have this situation again where two top laners are holding each other. It's very difficult for KOO to make that play because they have no TP. So how do they capitalize?
It's going to be very difficult, especially with Faker having home guard and Whimsy to get himself back out to the lanes, instantly glitter lancing, pushing any of KOO's work back while he was in base. And already down the mid lane. It's not going to be Smeb diving Marin under his turret, so Smeb starts to back off, and Faker was making a roam down. But the movement of Smeb says, I'm in a ward, let's not go for that. Still focused to the mid lane. 1 minute on to Dragon, both teams trying to just pull ultimates, pull flashes or summoner spells out of each other here before it happens.
We're absolutely seeing a game of back and forth right here. Anytime someone leaves to go and push a side lane, you're going to see a small window of pressure for the opponent. And anytime SKT shows
That's
people
big.
in the mid lane, Smeb will try and go aggressive. They end up getting the equalizer out there for very low cost.
97-second cooldown on the equalizer from Marin. That's one of the reasons Rumble is sitting and holding a lane so it can be a bit annoying for him if you have to use ulti due to the long cooldown. This does give an opening for KOO Tigers. You can see how they're instantly moving in now. Sit around Baron and say, we want to fight now because you have no ulti on your Rumble.
With the distortion enchant for Marin, he has a faster teleport cooldown for Smeb. So even though they used it on the same fight, Marin's teleport's actually up in a couple of seconds right here. And that makes it much less safe for KOO to actually be faking this Baron.
Something we saw him focus in game 1. Marin is definitely a huge playmaker on this Rumble. We saw him come from a screen off. Engage in one of the bottom fights. KOO's going to start. There's no vision here for SKT.
If SKT goes in, it can actually be a 5v4.
This is too risky.
I don't think KOO knows the teleport's up. Now they do.
Marin is going to be coming in. They will not be able to turn and fight this with the damage of Baron in their favor. They just back off completely.
Here's the big window, though, because this time they forced the teleport without forcing the teleport on the other side. So that's a big win for KOO, actually. Not overcommitting to the Baron and getting the split push turret. Huge move.
The key thing for KOO Tigers was the fact that Faker had recalled. He was back in base. One other member I didn't get to see who was also running from the fountain. So SKT, even though they had 5 members, they couldn't hard engage.
They're going back again. They're going back. They have the pink ward, but they do not clear the one in the back of the pit. They are trying to run SKT around the map, and soon Smeb will have his teleport, but he's drawn Marin up right here. So it's the Rek'Sai, Shen, and the teleport advantage all working in conjunction with the Dragon and Baron being up at once. This is filled with action right
Definitely
now.
by the book teleport play, if you will, gentlemen. This would be perfect for KOO to get a giant fight if SKT bunches up in this one. Marin, or Smeb rather, keeping an eye on the team. Marin already had to go back, but the teleport discrepancy actually will not be worked just yet by KOO. We have Hojin going back, but he can ult back in.
And if you're SKT, you have to break this cycle somehow by making an aggressive play or killing one leg of the split push. But at the moment, KOO isn't letting them recover. If anything, this leads to a cataclysmic fight at the Baron pit.
There's no wards behind SKT. There was no real way for Smeb to get a flank. He's just sitting in the lane. He's waiting for SKT to overcommit to a fight, knowing that Rumble isn't there. But you're still at that point where Fiora can duel everyone, so she can safely sit and stay even, at least with Marin, just clear the wave every single time, wait for something. I would want to see a ward from KOO Tigers behind this Baron, so there's a way for Smeb to TP in and get a flank, and he can instantly try and go for Bang.
SKT as well, kind of baiting the Baron out. They push down towards Dragon to make sure that KOO goes into it. SKT now approaching. Baron's going to be down to about 4,700 HP. That's the in from Wolf. Stops up 3 members. Slicing Maelstrom goes down, but it's not really hitting anybody or stunning the targets it needs. Faker is going to be able to take down Prey. The Baron still stands at 2,300 HP. Smeb is forced to flash out of this one. This is the fight they were waiting for, but SKT danced it out perfectly. The laser cross, it's going to be going to Bengi. SKT gets Baron for a 2nd game in a row, and now they're really going to be able to work the lane.
But what's the point in just teleporting your top laner straight into the Baron pit?
Oh,
that was one kill.
Takes him down.
It's going to be the fight. This is an easy kill for Faker here. Little bit of glitter. Glitter gets everywhere, and it takes down KOO. 45 seconds on the clock. They're getting longer. Smev may be able to pick up Dragon, but it's a consolation prize at this point.
Also, when Smev teleports inside that pit, I think they were trying to do it a little bit undetected, but Marin was able to get an equalizer in that pit, which made it dangerous. Bengi's smite is up, so thanks for the help, Smev.
Thank you very much, says SKT.
KOO Tigers.
It doesn't look like they want to stop either. They see Smev is low on mana. He's not going to have any potential to fight. Gorilla not doing anything, but you can see how long it's been since they've been in each other's jungles. New wards finally being placed.
Yeah.
Nobody had deep vision before that whole fight.
This obviously completely shuts down the split push here, but KOO Tigers simply got too greedy. They didn't want to wait any longer. They're like, let's just try and burst down the Baron, TP in here with all 5 guys, and just destroy the Baron as fast as possible before Marin shows up. But now you're just caught in here, so suddenly getting to the AD carry is almost impossible, and he's the guy you want to aim for if you look at what SKT has brought here on the board. So look at Bang, he's just sitting, shooting away all he wants, and they're caught. 5 guys taking damage from Baron at the same time.
Also, the way SKT engaged that fight with Wolf going in with the Unbreakable Will, the Baron was only hitting KOO even though the team fight was taking place in the Baron pit. The dive that Smev tried to do outwardly maybe would have been best served to just kill frontline to backline. He tried to assassinate through the team of SKT, which is almost never going to work.
Yeah.
Impatience is the word I would use from KOO right there.
It was supposed to be start Baron, 4 members from SKT move in, TP in behind him, like flash taunt from the Shen onto Bang and try and destroy him as fast as possible, or maybe the Lulu, and then suddenly you have a good fight going for yourself instead of being caught in that pit. Just a little bit too greedy from KOO Tigers. It cost him in game 1, it's costing him again here in game 2.
Smev not really respecting the members around him. He's just going for a little fight. Damage onto both Bengi and Wolf. Looks like they may want to commit here. They have good vision, but it's being cleared out. Double wards go down. The ward war definitely won by SKT here inside of KOO's jungle. And they're so split up. They can't really engage if they want to. A lot being done in defense. Smev actually puts himself in a spot where he dies. That's a double kill for Bengi. They're not stopping. Bang jumps over the wall for another kill. And it looks like it's going to be an ace in the base. 22-13. When SKT takes over, they start to steamroll.
And just like that, they still have Baron buff, and Marin's going to grab the minions. He actually still has Equalizer. He uses that to clear the minions. SKT, just like that, it's over.
The game is open for anybody to take. Moments later, SKT wins a few fights, and it is all theirs for the taking. The first Nexus turret goes down here in game 2. That's the second one. SK Telecom T1 are 1 win away from being your 2-time world champions.
Another game for SKT, where they punish you, they take the Baron, and they walk straight down and finish the game. 9 games so far at Worlds. SKT finished with the Baron buff on them. And KOO Tigers just had the whole setup for such a long time.
And it gets so scary for KOO Tigers now. This was the game where Marin and Bengi made the big mistake early in the game, and then made another mistake by not changing their play style.
This breaks you.
If there was a game to win or get back into the series, it was this one. And KOO needs to prevent being broken by SKT.
We see such a big difference just in shot calling though.
In the next 10 seconds, it looks like Ignite for the mid laners again.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely loving the fact that they've switched away from the TP action there in the mid lane.
Basically looking to be stronger when we have these fights going on instead of having the global pressure. Even though I still like it on a Kassadin to have that teleport, especially now when it's so hard to execute your composition. Like, credit to KOO Tigers for saying, we just lost 2 games in a row. We don't care. We will pick a comp that is so hard to play, and we trust in our ability to pull it off, and then try and get a comeback going.
Sometimes you got to test yourself to really find that inner skill. And hopefully they can bring it out here in game 3. The teams are about to hit the rift for game 3, so update your series predictions. Hashtag SKT win or hashtag KOO win. We'll update the fan vote once we are into game. We're very close to that Summoners Cup for SKT. KOO now trying to hang on to their World Championship hopes. They've made it all the way here in their first year as a team, really scrapping things together and hopefully bringing out their first victory in the World Finals here.
And even though there are holes or weaknesses within this team composition for KOO that can be exploited, I still love the fact that they have picked these specific champions for this composition. KOO Tigers, when they made their recovery out of having a poor summer split, it was a lot of Ashe and it was a lot of pick compositions. They are playing champions that they are comfortable on. And that is so important because we're worried about them tilting off the face of the earth when SKT turns around that game too. So how do you get your comfort back? It is in the champion picks, and KOO is just going to try to outplay the crap out of SKT in this game.
Looks like things are going to be very calm to start this one off. Definitely SKT's game to lose off the bat. Full control of the early game would pretty much solidify the win here, as KOO, in their attempts to do Baron last game, and their attempts to kind of pressure the turret, they aren't really trial and erroring. They're not seeing how SKT is acting, so it's flawing every time they go in. They have errors left and right, or they split.
I want to see SKT lane swap though in this game here, because I think KOO Tigers have some very, very strong lane setups. Ashe is a fantastic laner, and she has a range support and Thresh next to her against an Alistar, so that's very good for KOO Tigers. Fiora into Rumble, give her that one-on-one lane from the start as well. That's what we see from SKT now. They're like, okay, we're staying on bottom side in case they were invading. We were showing we were down here. Maybe we would trick them into thinking we were going to be on the bottom side. Now they swap it up top lane here. So they do get the lane swap for SKT. I think that's very important for this early game. But they have made mistakes in the lane swaps in the last 2 games. They didn't bounce the wave in game 1. And obviously last game was this crazy level 1, level 2 thing. Where Martin ends up TPing down with no flash and dying as well.
We're talking just the first 5 minutes of the game. KOO Tigers has been the better team.
Sadly, games are not only 5 minutes long.
I think that's something that SKT realizes well in advance as well. You see all these kills going to KOO around the map. SKT kind of has this database in their head. They say, you know, we could lose about 5 kills here, but if we get kills in a turret and dragon, we're right back in the game. And that's what they always set up for when they're down. They see what their opening is to get back in the game.
Well, SKT is actually doing about the same play they did earlier, because they're sending an invade in to the double jungler. It's just on the different side of the map.
I don't know if they're going to be getting over walls on this one. They know what mistake they made last time. Now they're getting away with a bit more resources. No flash is being used there, but they do push KOO off that top side of the jungle.
So again, KOO Tigers, they keep starting in the jungle where the enemy AD carry and support is supposed to be, or at least on that side of the map. So they take away their own 2 camps on top side, which was supposed to belong to SKT, because SK Telecom always start in their own jungle. They start really defensively, so they don't deny anything. And now once again, there will be more camps to take for KOO Tigers down on the bottom side of the map. So SKT just instantly want to go up and start pushing down this tower, swap around, get this lane swap rolling, so you can't just fall further behind. They don't value getting early experience on Marin by taking multiple jungle camps. They just want you safe and then push down the tower as fast as possible.
This top lane going a bit faster. It took Smeb some time to get down to that bottom tier turret, so SKT are going to be able to move a bit quicker here. Those few seconds they get to themselves to back first, get in position, get their wards ready, and start being aggressive on the bottom side of the map is really what puts them ahead. Smeb being late here leaves still a third of this turret up.
Yeah, and they're going to teleport in and actually try and save this one. This will be a big question of how quickly Alistar gets down there. And KOO took enough damage from the minion wave that they can't actually threaten a dive. Also a weird move up top. Bang didn't bounce the wave into the top side.
See what Hojin does here, but the reason they didn't bounce the wave was because they realized they could TP down bottom lane. So they just wanted to push it out, get some farm going, and then force someone for KOO Tigers to recall and go up to top side and catch that wave, so there's not going, these minions are going to waste. So because they saw how slow KOO Tigers were at the bottom side of the map, they felt like we can defend it. Bengi moved all the way down, TP in as well to stop it. Hojin should have been in a position, in my opinion, where he could either threaten then the 4v2 dive super quick, or just go down and realize we were behind him pushing the tower. I need to join in as well before this play even happened and just 4-man kill this tower, because you never want to fall behind when it comes to fast pushing.
Well, they have all the pressure on the bot side. They have to watch for prey to come up in the bottom side of the jungle here. KOO in a bad spot. He walks right in with Faker on his tail. They're on Bengi though. The flay back, very nice from Gorilla. Ignite and Flash used to make that happen. Faker now in a real sore spot. It looks like he'll be the next to go down. A bit of a fumble Ruski here coming in from SKT. And KOO are going to pick up some very nice kills all around the board. 3 assists to Gorilla. It's working out perfectly. Distributing the kills, nice. Bang trying to come in now. A huge, I think I can situation from SKT to pick up the little outside experience that would ever happen.
They just got
4 kills for Hojin in the early game. 1 goes to prey.
One person and another person, and who wants to die next? And who wants to die next? SKT, another early game fumble here against KOO, and they pick it up big. 4 kills onto Hojin. So what will he do now? Warrior enchantment completed 5.5 minutes into the game.
I feel like we've seen this before in this series here. SKT makes a lot of mistakes and Hojin picks up all the kills.
Yeah, Gorilla's not actually level 1 in this fight, so the rest of this here, Hojin goes in big, level 3 Lee Sin spike. They kill Bengi right at the start. Faker was low on mana and actually had no business stopping that either. Prey, again, not level 1, is able to come in and finish those guys off. And Why do Sivir and Rumble come up here when their entire team is already dead? Additionally, Fjord doesn't even have to be involved in this. This was 5 kills by 3 people on the KOO Tigers. This is, you know how we said in the first game, there's no way SKT falls as far behind early game as they did in game 2? There is a way. That's the way. 4 kills on a Hojin and a Warrior enchantment already.
Not calculating the HP bars quite well in that situation. Possibly a bit of a play.
He's got no flash.
This could be the finalizer. Hojin holds the resonating strike to cancel out the rest of Faker.
And every time we have some of these extremely weird plays where there's no real reason for them to make it, we've got to look at what could be the objective. Why would SKT move in there in the first place? Well, in this case, it was to place a deep ward. And then they realized Gorilla face checks onto Benkin. They're like, oh, maybe we can take a fight here. You know, support just face check. We could get 1 kill. But they don't realize how Faker has no mana. They don't realize how everyone from KOO Tigers could move so quickly there. And really just such a sloppy decision.
And also, SKT didn't have the wave clear advantage. So this is exactly what KOO wants to do. They want to find fights in neutral territory when they don't lose objectives. SKT's way of stopping those things from happening is to keep the waves managed.
And this becomes extremely volatile for SKT now. KOO already set up to take down Faker behind a second-tier turret, but they want to go to the bot lane, looking now at Bang and Wolf. Marin's going to clear top. Smeb's going to have to respect that and stay for the TP. It's down anyways, but we're going to see something happen in that bottom lane, possibly, as teams disperse a bit. It doesn't look like anything came out of it, rightfully so. KOO would have had to make a pretty big dive.
KOO can just sit in the lanes and wait for Hojin to show up on this Lee Sin. Because he's so far ahead, he can take any fight he wants, and he can burst you down as soon as he hits level 6 in this Lee Sin. So wait for him to make that play, because then you know there's no counter gank from Bengi available. He will be too far behind.
And these types of plays are the exact plays that KOO needs. They said they want the crowd to be chanting their name, and that's what they're getting right now. It'll lift the pressure off their shoulders. They know the crowd is behind them, but more so that their strats are working right now. We did see that Hojin was 2-0-2 on Rek'Sai in the early game in game 2. 5-0-1. Hopefully he can continue to spread his experience to the rest of the lanes and keep this snowball going, because they did slow down after they got all those big plays in game 2.
And now it's also about slowing down the game if you were SKT. You know Lee Sin is going crazy. Faker also doesn't have that much lane pressure on Curl because he's been down his flash and also died twice, plus he doesn't have teleport, so it's kind of the worst situation you can be in as a mid laner. But SKT still has a lot of wave clear advantages, and they have a Rek'Sai who can give himself Tremor Sense in the jungle, line up to counter ganks, and more so than actually counter ganking, just tip someone off that they're coming so SKT can run away. They really just want to wave clear for a little while until KOO would make a mistake.
We do need to see Hojin, though, be a bit more aggressive now in this Lee Sin. You have so many kills, you need to almost live in the enemy jungle and say, I could take any fight possible against this Rek'Sai. Obviously nothing completed for Benki so far other than the Sidestone. SKT right now, though, have been able to push the top over and over and open up to just take the Raptors.
And Hojin's going super aggressive. Not only did he complete his Warrior enchantment 5 minutes in, he had enough gold for a Sightstone, but instead started building Hex Drinker components. Now he's got no wards left. 1 ward there, Trinket ward to jump out. He actually can't ward jump to pull any type of trickery off.
Really would have liked to see Sidestone. I think one of the best ways to kind of snowball a jungle matchup is not necessarily by trying to kill the other jungler, but by getting wards in his jungle so you can spot him. Arrow onto Faker, though. This is a play we're going to see quite often from Prey. He's very good at leaving his own lane in this Ashe here, moving towards mid or top lane, set up a possible pick. This time, Hojin gets into the jungle, though. This is what we like to see. I just wish he had some wards to be placed in here as well now, so he can spot the Rek'Sai next time.
Relying a little too much on Lantern Escape.
I think Lee Sin's one of the best champions who can turn utility into offense. Sightstone increases the offensive capabilities of Lee Sin. Really disagree with this buy from Hojin.
They've been loving their Hex Drinkers. Game after game, they continue to grab it.
Against the Rumble.
Well, we're usually faced up against the double AP comp so far. We had the Kassadin Rumble, now Lulu Rumble. Once again, SKT definitely knows where to put that power once the mid game comes. This time, 2,000 gold lead to KOO, 6-1, full control of the game. Haven't really been able to keep their deep wards in the side of SKT, so that's slowing them down a little bit. But we know SKT be the vision denial team. The flash play, as soon as he gets it again, hooks in Faker, the dragon kick back, and that's going to be a dead Faker once again. Nobody's in the back pocket to help him this time.
Faker tried to save his flash until all the CC were down first, but then obviously Lee Sin shows up with the Thresh here, kicks him back, and then it's too late for him to do anything. They keep trying to gank this mid lane. You know you have a Kassadin sitting there, and you just keep leaving this bottom side. Roam up through the river, go for the gank.
I think it's also critical that they were able to get the kill on a Kassadin here. So much of the kill distribution is on Hojin, which is why he needs to snowball the game right now, because otherwise his gold at the end of the game will not mean that much, and that's why SKT needs to stall this one out. So using the Lee Sin, Thresh, the power of the chain CC right there to punish Faker's greed of not using Flash was very well done.
Now, to question a bit of this, do they start spreading some love to Smeb in the top lane on the Fiora, or is he perfectly fine holding off Marin for as long as possible?
I mean, at the moment, if you want to gank Marin, you should realize Bengi will be nearby, because every time Marin pushes up, Bengi shows himself, gets a ward in the jungle, and she's kind of there for safety. So they're just going to say, no, we can just keep camping this mid lane. We have double CC, we have the Astral and the Arrow in case we need that one as well. But yes, they could definitely also go and gank Marin. It's just easier to rotate from bottom lane with your support straight to mid lane. That's a quick one, easy gank to set up.
It's so hard for KOO to create picks, though, because they're still running without a Sightstone on their whole team.
He didn't even buy a ward when he went
Gorilla didn't buy Sightstone, he built Boots of Mobility, so they're trying to go in blind and make plays with superior combat stats right now. It is absurdly aggressive and incredibly unreliable, but KOO is going all out right here, trying to pull this off. Big change of strategy from KOO Tigers in this game than in prior.
It's very clear in the pick and ban phase. Coming into this game, KOO Tigers said, okay, it's all or nothing. Just pick some champions where we can pick them off, skirmish really well, and go crazy. I feel like in the game, though, once you get the 5 kills early on, you can then adapt that and say, okay, we don't have to go all in crazy now. Because we just got 5 kills. We can play it out normal and just have a big advantage.
Get the 5 kills, place the wards, and make it easier to pick with all of your pick abilities. Instead of KOO, what they're trying to do is run through SKT, force, run into someone randomly, and get the kill.
Well,
but they have so much brute force.
Blips of vision, right? A Hawk Shot will go out here, a Hawk Shot will go out there. They'll have somewhat vision, and they'll work off of that bit. But you're right. They don't know who's around the corner after Hawk Shot's gone.
This is why coaches really want to be able to talk in-game. I see the Arrow misses, but Nofa's been like, guys, go crazy, man. Go all in. We're going to do this. And then when all this happens, he just wants to stand back and be like, okay, slow down. All right, get vision, then we play it out.
No way to tell them to slow down right now.
Nope.
And the wave clear will be punished eventually. They're continuing to keep the pressure on mid lane, and because they are so strong right now with straight up item advantages, Hex Drinker completed, Tiamat completed, they haven't been punished yet for this craziness that they're doing. Oh,
They're definitely employing a new strat for this one. Wolf finds he's in a bad situation in the box. Do they have enough to get to Gorilla? Smeb actually teleports down here, but it's called in as well. From the other teleports onto Bangi now. Looks like they should be able to get out. Bang does not want the grand challenge. Wolf goes down immediately. Marin able to teleport, but he wasn't close to the fight. KOO should go down here. Safeguard over to him. A lantern as well. Light still ticks through. The flash was burned from KOO quite a bit as well. This could give SKT a little bit of love around that dragon area to get more wards and keep fighting. Wow, Smeb wants to go in. They know Gorilla's there, but very low on mana here. Hojin looking to build a little bit of energy as well. I don't think it's a fight either side wants to take, but they were still trying to blow summoners on both sides. Successful at that.
That's a 1-for-1 against a team who had 7 kills already at 14 minutes against 1 only from SKT. Them trading even will always be in their favor because you're so far behind. It's never in the favor of KOO Tigers to just trade even. Hojin even took the kill. Alistar was like 100% dead. Kicks him in the face and kills him.
Hojin's going one direction right now. Lee Sin care. That's all he's thinking right now. He's trying to put the team on his back. And this is also the mentality you put yourself in when you are down 2-0 in a series, because you are always trying to make that big play. But so far, it's been mostly working for KOO.
Oh, arrow to the knee on Wolf. I don't know if he's going to be out of this one. He gets the headbutt in. It's good that he kind of just let it happen. You didn't want to try to use too much to get away. He actually did flash in the end, thinking he could break the brush vision, but it did not work. The KOO chants come out once again, and they will again deny the resources in the jungle of SKT.
Yeah, now you have that side stone, 2 wards instantly placed in the jungle. You get a pick. Wolf was way out of position trying to place a deep ward himself, but with 0 backup from his laners. A mistake we have seen from SKT, honestly, today a few times, where one guy just goes in on his own to place a ward and then gets caught out. This is what KOO Tigers composition wants to do. Oh, you're alone, you're running way too far ahead of your own team. We have all the tools to CC you and chase you. There's going to be a Kassadin late game constantly jumping after you as well.
And what KOO is pulling off right now is what so many teams unsuccessfully do against well-executed wave clear compositions, because in order to stop the side lanes from pushing out of control for SKT, you have to kill them before they get up to your turret. And KOO has been able to find fights and consistently kill, which is why it's just the one turret taken down for SKT versus the two from KOO. And now that they actually do have the double sight stones built up, they can continue to put on the pressure and the vision.
Double sight stones means they all swapped over to sweepers. A very early scrying orb still from Prey to go along with his hawk shots have given KOO great vision in this early part of the game to waltz into the jungle of SKT pretty much without any care. Now they have the wards so deep, a pink ward all the way down between the second tier turrets. They have all the vision they need here to make those pick moves they've been wanting to make all game.
The only thing SKT is going for them is the fact that Marin, they go hit level 11 soon, which is good spikes for them when it comes to a possible dragon fight. This is what KOO TIGERS want them.
Trying to stop SKT
In their perfect run,
from having a perfect run at Worlds, what would be the first in the history of the World Championship.
and SKT has been positive. They said, if this team doesn't beat us, we're more than likely going to go undefeated in the entire tournament. We feel better about it every win.
Look, here they come.
This is the crowd control they were looking for. There's no way Bengi gets out of this one. He goes down with the last shot from Prey. 2-0-5 now for the AD carry.
This is what we're going to keep seeing here. Wards being placed. Bengi can no longer sit and farm his own jungle if he ever does so. Expect KOO TIGERS to show up, catch him out like they just did right here, get that one kill. Problem is, they give up a bot lane tower and only get a kill for it. So technically for them, not the greatest trade, but it did mean Marin also had to be careful top, so now they can trade the top tower.
It's a delayed trade. It's still favorable for the KOO TIGERS because they got the map pressure. Kill Squad, Hojin and Gorilla, they have been successfully creating these picks. 100% kill participation for Hojin, 90% kill participation for Gorilla, and it's allowed Smeb to not have to carry. So much of this entire world and of the first two games have been Smeb carrying, and he was pushing too hard in the first few games. Now the weight is being taken off of Smeb's shoulders in this game, and it's actually been Hojin.
I was just going to say that one of the biggest changes from both of the games we've seen is that KOO is not focusing top. They're not trying to get things for Smeb. They're not trying to stop Marin. They've stayed away from that, and it's working perfectly for them because SKT turns those fights around. Looking at 20 minutes coming up on the clock now. 10-2, the biggest lead KOO has had here in these games, as well as a 5,000 gold lead coming up on that 20-minute mark.
And Dragon coming up in 12 seconds. It's what a pick composition lives for. Not necessarily doing the Dragon, but killing someone when they're trying to get vision or contest the Dragon.
It's dinner time.
Fortunately for SKT though, they've been able to get a lot of wards preemptively around the Dragon Pit since KOO just committed so many people to killing the other side of the map. So the picks will be harder to come by.
Every time KOO has killed them, one other guy snuck in behind them and placed 2 or 3 wards in the river, and then they had to escape. But they always gave up a kill for it, so KOO TIGERS kept getting further and further ahead in terms of gold. We're still only 19 minutes into the game. There's plenty of time for the KOO TIGERS to use all this gold here to their advantage. For now, they're gonna have to fight for vision, and SKT gets at least an entrance.
And I have to reiterate how difficult it is to beat SKT because they've been able to get those wards here. And they actually have a power spike here with Marin being level 11 on Rumble. A well-placed equalizer at this Dragon fight, even with the 5,000 gold difference, could win a fight for SKT.
One of the problems though for Marin, and that's also why he's down on the bottom side here, is if he goes top now to catch this wave, which he probably will to defend the tower, when you're against Kassadin, Ashe and so on, they can hard engage in and pick off one target. Your teleport becomes very difficult to use because obviously there's the delay on the teleport casting before you arrive. KOO TIGERS might have picked up a guy before Marin even gets to TP in. So him sitting there means KOO TIGERS can be the proactive team now. Look for that one arrow here. Look for Kuro to catch out a guy. A lot of damage on Gorilla though.
If they start the Dragon, that's going to mean even more damage. They don't necessarily have someone who can tank the Dragon without taking any pain. And maybe this turns into a steal opportunity because Bengi would be able to tunnel in and try and get something. KOO is forcing really hard to try and get a fight.
KOO TIGERS chants resonating through the halls of the Mercedes-Benz Arena here in Berlin. Hojin takes the Dragon. Smeb TP's into the backside. They're still getting out. This is where the picks come in. Wild growth on the Bengi. The focus is Marin. He's away from the team. Smeb wants to keep everybody in range, but he's gone on a one-man mission over here. Bengi gets out. Smeb lunges back. Gorilla is a 1 health from being taken taken down right now, and KOO doesn't get enough of the picks that they want, but Marin does go down from being in the thick of the fight.
Wow, and how close this fight really was. It is an advantage for KOO to get the Dragon and the kill.
Absolutely.
But if we're thinking about total damage dealt in that team fight, SKT actually did more. Pretty much everyone on KOO took 80% or more of their health bar. They can absolutely bring the pain, especially if SKT funnels in like that, chasing kills.
See it again.
You can see how SKT knows they don't want to risk someone going down before Marin arrives, so he goes in fairly early with teleport and beautiful ulti on three guys from the KOO Tigers. This delays everything. They're trying to chase, but they're so split up now. Smep doesn't even get Benki down, but in the end, they win the fight. They get this Dragon here like they're supposed to. Bang was very, very close to suddenly being able to get a few kills.
Absolutely. Bang maybe could have played that a little more aggressive, but still, when you're down 11 kills to 2, your aggressive moves have been biting you time and time again, and KOO is really looking to take this series back.
Gorilla surviving that fight with 6 HP, some thick skin there to keep him alive. Ignite still up, kill pressure from him to come into the next fight if necessary, and this may be that time again. KOO starts to taunt Baron, but more of a trial and error here. See how SKT reacts and then act on that.
It's the time for KOO Tigers to start getting the pink wards, upgrade your sweepers here, both on Gorilla and Hojin, because you need to be able to deny vision at the Baron, force SKT to face check in, and then again, create this pick where you just shoot an arrow in their face. SKT have all 5 members nearby. Horo take a bit of damage, but you can see how they're fighting, because SKT knows if they give up that jungle, it's over. Because then the Baron will be started, they're completely blind, and then they will die in the next team fight. So that's why they're here so early, to fight just for vision. There's always these pre-fights before the big team fight where you fight all these small advantages. Who can see who? Can they start the Baron safely? There's no tank on the lineup of KOO Tigers. That makes it tricky, and that's why they need a kill first.
A little game of cat and mouse here. Are you going to approach? How do you approach? Can we cut you off? Can we get that pick when you're rotating towards the Baron? KOO have a lot of room to work with right here, outside the vision of SKT.
Marin should not be on the bottom side of the map at the moment. He has no TP. This just gave KOO Tigers the jungle, and they're pushing him for top tower.
Yeah, because now SKT can't actually hold this turret with wave clear in fear of a dive.
The wave going through, the crowd has been cheering for KOO, and it looks like the arrow hits Bang. The spell shield was on, he does not get crowd controlled. That's the grand challenge on Bangi. Thrust, parry, and he gets the kill. 13-2 as they start cleaning up SKT without losing any members on the side of KOO.
KOO Tigers has successfully put an element of chaos into this game, which is making SKT make bad decisions. That was a bad decision. Marin wasn't able to defend. The dive is very real with an Ash Arrow initiate plus a Lee Sin with Flash, and they are rightfully punished for that move. And now with 2 death timers looming, the Baron becomes another problem.
Crowd started chants, people standing up and creating these chants for KOO. It's exactly what we want. Oh, Faker Flash into the wall! Wall's gonna go down now! Gorilla has gone down to Marin, but it's Kuro and Marin now. Marin knows he's not gonna get out of this one safely. Slowed once again. I don't believe the volley just yet, but they're gonna be in range. Who are they gonna give it to? Merry Christmas, an early Christmas to Prey.
SKT managed to stop the Baron, but that was about it. 3 kills again for KOO Tigers. Summoner spells used. This is looking so bad, and really this game exploded.
I'll say it's looking good for KOO.
It looked great for KOO, obviously bad for SKT, but really, we had the 5 kills early on, and then KOO Tigers got a few kills here and there, but it really exploded when they started getting into that jungle, get down the vision, and been able to create these picks here. Faker, even Faker, can flash into the wall.
When you have Faker failing a flash over a wall, you know something is amiss within the SKT team. They've been making bad calls. Faker, I can't remember the last time I've seen him miss a flash.
Just reminds us that he's human.
And if there's ever a time for SKT to drop a game, guys, it's now. 8,000 gold down, KOO continually finding team fights again and again. And I'm gonna have to question, if KOO's able to win this game, do they actually completely turn the momentum of the series? Because remember, they were winning, they were in a position to win game 2.
Yes, but then we saw some of the problems for them late game with the shot calling.
Right.
This game, that should not be an issue when you're so far ahead now. Your composition, at this point, is gonna be straightforward to play because you just keep baiting around the Baron and then you just fire that arrow from Prey and you take that team fight. It is hard to get to this point for KOO Tigers due to the fact that they got so many early kills. It made it a lot easier for them. They've been able to execute it properly now, and we're just waiting for that finish Because right now, SKT is hurt. They're not dead yet.
They're not dead yet, but this is finally KOO breaking through that mental barrier that SKT puts up. We saw Faker go down twice to West Door alone in lane, and Faker was almost smiling, laughing, knowing that they would come back because they have the confidence. Here, that seems to be broken. SKT always turning tail to these fights to see if they can assess and go back in, but it has been for naught.
Yeah, and actually SKT going for a big fight in the mid lane.
Arrow straight to the face of Bang, stops Gorilla from going down. Initiations on both sides of On the Hunt. Crystalline Arrow and Box are down.
And something we actually have to talk about, SKT ran Lulu Sivir frequently throughout the regular season, and they use as a mid-game power spiking team that got picks. But when it falls behind, it is really difficult for it to come back since it has to move as a unit.
Now that Sivir ulti is gone, it could have opened up for KOO Tigers to maybe make a play on the bottom side against Marin, send down Hojin, just 2v1 dive him. Instead, they're returning to the Baron. Back the ways from the bot lane here with Smeb.
KOO has not hesitated on any of their calls this game. That's a risky call though because they are on a scrying orb. And now the teleport's coming in.
Marin down. Their target is actually to stop KOO and their flank back. We see Faker and Wolf messing with Meb down here, but it is not working out for them. Lunging over the wall. KOO is instantly back in position. This should not hurt them too much. A lot of ultimates are already being used by SKT. Remember, Wolf's ult is down from that second tier turret in mid, so they can't afford to go back in.
Remember that this team does not have a tank who's going to stack armor that can safely stand in front of this Baron here. It was Kassadin and so on. Try and bounce it with Hojin. Both of them took a lot of damage, and you're against the Rumble. You never want to start a fight low against the Rumble because that's just gonna be terrible for you. Here's a fight.
It's a bit of a flank here. Prey very low on mana, but you don't need that to auto attack. That's gonna be Wolf down. We also lost Meb in the fight. Marin holding tight in the middle. They get the turret, so they'll be able to fight under it now. Hojin doing what he can with such an awesome score in this game, and it looks like it's gonna be a lot for the team. That's a double. Faker gets hit by the arrow. That's gonna be a kill for Prey as well. Is there a triple coming in here? No, it's a double-double for KOO and Prey.
Another
ace on SKT.
Team fight win there by the KOO Tigers. And honestly, if there was ever a fight that SKT is going to win there, it would have been that one. KOO was so low on resources beforehand, but SKT had such a gargantuan goal deficit, and Hojin is playing out of his mind on Lee Sin with a beautiful kick on to Bang back into the team. This gives him Baron too.
Wow. Hojin is a jungler that's been criticized for a very poor early game coming into this final. All 3 games now, he's had a very, very good early game. He's picking up early kills, early assists. He's applying a lot of pressure on the map. Obviously, there's a few things maybe he can still change, but after all, he's playing a lot better now in the early game. You see the fight, Smeb goes down very early, but this kick from Hojin is massive.
1, 2, 3.
Tower is still alive as well. And it's just straight into Koro. He gets that kill, and now they can start chasing.
And Hojin also landed the Sonic Wave the instant Marin came out of Zhonya's. Then they clear his corpse out of the way, land the Ash Arrow onto Faker, and chase down the rest of it. They are really in sync right now, which is something that was distinctly lacking in games 1 and 2.
So he changes his name back to Lee after this one. What plays coming in from Hojin. Last game he was 2-0-2, and he kind of divvied up the kills after that a little bit more. Now he's 6-0-14. It seems like getting more of that experience, more of that cash on Hojin. It definitely pays off for the team. Another game where Prey has come up big as well in the Ashe, the initiation that KOO loves so much.
Oh, no.
It's actually being turned right back onto him. It is the Dark Passage that tries to bring Prey to the light, but it cannot happen. The box goes down, but everybody runs around, and it looks like they mitigate that slow. A kill onto Gorilla, and now SKT make a bit of their own pick comp with a first headbutt going on to Prey.
Look at the minimap right now. Koro was sitting in the top lane. No teleport obviously on the Kassadin. And then KOO Tigers to start pushing down to the tier 2 tower. Only 3 members against the Sivir composition. These are the kind of mistakes they've made in the other games, where even though they had a lead, it never felt like the game was over.
Against SKT, the game is never over. No matter how big the lead is.
True.
We have seen it time and time again, and that was an example of the Sivir pick composition. Why is Hojin also trying to defend this turret solo?
They can get a 4-man kick.
Bang wants to go a little too deep, gets hit by the turret. Oh, Faker over the wall! A shutdown. That's huge gold for Faker coming in from Hojin. That'll definitely be an item coming online for him. Hits Arrow, but Arrow's not going to stop this one. KOO goes down as everybody inside the base does what they can with the globals they have. Smeb still putting pressure on the bottom. If Marin had been there, that would have been detrimental for KOO.
Well, they already got all the kills, and all they had to do was defend the bottom side. Smeb got 1 tower But SKT is suddenly picking up, I believe, 5 kills. 2 kills first in the mid lane, or 4 kills in total here for SKT, and that is massive when you're so far behind.
Especially because both Kuro and Hojin had maximum bounties, which means 500 gold for the kill and 300 gold for the assist. 800 total gold for the team amongst both of those.
Let's see what happened here. Thought Bang went a little too close, but they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, at this point I was expecting Kuro to just jump back into his base because he would have been safe. But with the Ash Arrow coming in, I think Kuro was thinking he could convert a kill. Faker saved his ultimate for just the right time, saves Bang in such a close fashion.
Wolf takes the arrow, is tanking the turret. Nothing could have gone better there unless they aced the team. And those were members of KOO with Baron. Now, not having it, it's going to be much harder for them to get these waves in. Still on to Smeb, and try to still work that side lane.
It's time to relax a little bit if you're the KOO Tigers. In your communication, you're probably still screaming, you're super hyped, you're about to win this game, everything has been working for you. Now is where you calm down, your shot caller kind of tells the rest of the team, okay, what's our next objective? Tier 2 tower and mid lane, how are we going to get it? Well, we can no longer split up because we know Sivir can hard engage, and there's enough damage on the side of SKT to kill us then. So put the Kassadin with us, slow push the other lane. You see top lane was pushing down. They have to go back now and re-push that lane and then move the Kassadin back into this mid lane so you avoid being caught out by Sivir. And when the next fight happens, you're all 5 members there together and you can use your composition.
And with the amount of gold he has, Hojin making a pretty selfish choice in the Banshees Veil against this double AP team. Still no Aegis on the side of KOO, which could come back to bite him.
Yeah, I think the way KOO is approaching this game mentally is skirmish.
Yeah.
And if they're trapped in a big team fight where they're sitting on an equalizer, they're probably thinking they've lost anyway. I still would like to see the Aegis in there for Hojin, but with the Banshee's Veil, when he jumps in and kicks someone backwards, it's much harder for them to get him out of there. Wolf can't headbutt him with first spell. Faker can't polymorph him. They have to burn 2 spells in order to stop him from doing that. So it's actually kind of an offensive pickup as well.
It's still so greedy though, because Banshees is one of these items that look good on paper and
It's
then
so
one
great.
ability hit you before the fight starts and it does really nothing for him. Lockett would have been way better for the rest of his team, but Hojin, he's been on a mission to carry this game.
It is the pattern of the game. That's exactly what he's been doing. Hex Drinker over Sightstone, Warrior Enchantment in 5 minutes.
That's true. Good call in the beginning
It's a
there.
one-track mind here for KOO Tigers. They're going all in on this specific playstyle, and it is leaking into every single facet of their game.
And you got a pocket full of money. Impulse buys happen more than not, and looks like Hojin has been grabbing everything up for himself here. Still looking at a 10,000 gold lead, and possibly a Bengi going down. Knocks him out of the tunnel. Arrow hits Wolf once again. Unbreakable Will completely stops the crowd control, and that was worked perfectly with the tanks on the front line for SKT. They have a chance to go back in. Kuro finds himself in a real bad spot, and Smeb is kept at bay. Why are they still going in? Prey was on the front line there. They're going to have Gorilla here. He tries to bob and weave, slalom the minions to slow down SKT, but they're giving back the game inch by inch here.
I was just about to praise KOO Tigers for having that slow push on top side and have the Kassadin sit ready in the mid lane to create a pick, but then they dive on the tower with Kuro tanking the tower as well.
And we're 34 minutes in, so this could actually mean the inhibitor going down.
Crazy.
If you are KOO right now, who does SKT remind you of right now? A team down, holding out with some nice team fighting.
I was gonna say Bob Ross
Feels like
dead.
the
I'm gonna be like,
Tigers.
this game is ruined.
Oh,
Then he
Smeb!
saves it.
Whoa, Smeb bringing out the plays. He had a bit more to offer. He is just tanking the turret with happiness, a smile on his face, a few more hits. Smeb coming up with a 2v1 very nicely, and this is where SKT has to turn
KOO's back alive.
They are back. They are on Wolf. That's the, not Unbreakable Will, that's a Wild Growth coming out. Unbreakable Will is up, but I don't even know if he uses it to try and get out here. They're gonna try to walk KOO around as much as possible. Face of the mountain is all he's got to offer there as he holds the ult for the possibility of a very big fight in their base coming up.
So Smeb has been farming for the last 35 minutes. I think we've barely seen him in this game. He's just been sitting in that side
It's
lane.
worked so well for KOO.
And now finally he gets his chance. 1 versus 2, kills them. That was so huge because SKT were pushing in the base. They were gonna get inhibitor, get more kills, get back in the game, and then the outplay happens.
After such a turning moment, this is what KOO Tigers talk about when they talk about their team chemistry, honestly, because how many teams at Worlds this year have we seen go down 2-0 and been able to bounce back in the third game? Absolutely nope. And then after making multiple mistakes in the third game, be able to still go for the play and have it work. They have the trust in each other, and they've said even when they make a bad play, they can move on from it. That is a perfect example of it working in the game. But still, they're yet to close, and they still haven't taken
Yeah.
a single game off SKT.
And I'm 100% sure SKT after this game, if they do end up losing it, they're gonna sit down and talk about the first 5 minutes of these games.
Of all
Because
games.
every
Yeah,
single
absolutely.
one. There have been some crazy aggressive plays from SKT where they get punished, plays they didn't have to make in the first place. Why set yourself behind, or why risk setting yourself behind when you've shown that shot calling wise, late game, you are the better team? That is something they're gonna have to change for the next game if they lose this one.
Think of what would happen, though, if those plays had worked. Your mentality to be crushed that hard in the first 5 minutes of the game. Luckily for KOO, it hasn't for SKT, and they have been falling behind, which is really giving them a chance to
Right.
be in this game. And they're not even on a thread right now. They are in the lead,
Yeah.
pretty much just walking down the road.
It's been plays that you couldn't win. Flashing forward on the tower to get a first spot is just you trading a kill for kill, but using your flash.
Yeah.
So like, you're basically lost no matter what you do.
You talk about trying to be calm as well on a stage like this, World Finals, even though SKT has
chanting
been
your
there
name.
before. It's Marin's first Worlds as well.
That's
There
true.
is a moment of the spectacle. Here we go.
Oh,
on to
what a
Faker.
hit on the Faker. Eyes focused onto him. He's forced to flash over the wall, but it doesn't save him. KOO gets the shot necessary. A double kill for the Kassadin, and this spells very bad things for SKT. The bottom inhibitor is already broken, feeding super minions into the base. This is going to be Marin going down as well as he's too far from home. Over the wall. Bang's going to go down now. The fly in. The lunge from Smeb. A few more hits. The parry is great. The thrust is better. And he goes down. Huge kills for KOO. They're on the Nexus turret, and it looks like they could thwart the perfect record of SKT at Worlds. The first Nexus turret to go down, the ace of SKT in their own base, and the KOO Tigers will break the perfect record at Worlds for SKT. We're going to a Game 4.
KOO Tigers decided to all in on this game here. All the way back in Champ Select. We talked about how risky the comp was, but the only thing I would have seen change from the KOO Tigers is instead of maybe banning the Rumble, obviously because they see the Fiora ban, they're like, okay, we want to keep target top laners. It was very difficult for KOO Tigers then to realize, okay, are we going to get in a trade where it's like Elise and Tahm Kench for each other? They could maybe ban away one of them. Because SKT were very locked in their bans. When you first ban Fiora on red side and have GP and Mordekaiser open still, you're pretty much forced to go for those two bans. KOO Tigers could have played around it. Instead, they are apparently happy taking the Tahm Kench, who is, in my opinion, a step above every other support. Same for Elise, obviously, when it comes to junglers. But man, Tahm Kench can make so many sick
We've
plays.
seen it so many times with Jinx. Bang has 0 plays through Summer or Worlds on Jinx, so that's pretty much falling into the hands of Prey if they actually want it. Alistar also picked up with that Elise. We'll see what they can put on the table. They've got a bit of crowd control to start off some fights if they can grab somebody from afar, but it's still the Ashe pickup. The arrows just too strong.
This is the KOO Tigers' favorite bottom lane. Because what you will do is you will push out your lane, you will recall, and then you have an arrow and you have the Tahm Kench ulti to gank whatever lane you want. And suddenly 5 members appear behind Faker or Marin. That's a kill, that's a tower. Something KOO Tigers love to do, and they can do this with this comp.
And they also save their solo lanes until the very last pick. So the Gnar's not going anywhere but top lane. Smeb gets to try and counterpick that, but without Fiora on the board.
You can still take a Riven
Yeah, I'd expect Riven into Gnar.
into the Gnar if you want to. I mean, if you can play an Olaf something into Gnar as well, but obviously he doesn't have the setup with his team, so Riven would work fine for him in this matchup. Overall, just the KOO Tigers are getting comfort picks across the board, and I felt like in Game 2 as well, they got a very good composition for the KOO Tigers. They're doing the same thing here. SKT obviously can still be happy getting Elise as your first pick here. Bengi needs to show up in this game and out jungle Hojin, who's obviously been giving a lot of kills in the early game. Has made it easier for Hojin to show up today.
Hojin's eruption in Game 3 was kind of the least expected thing we have at Worlds. He was so walked over in so many of the bracket stage games already.
Not gonna.
It
Or
could.
maybe.
I mean, would we see
Lulu top?
Smeb on Lulu top?
That's actually true. I was gonna say no, they have a support, but
Hasn't been the case for a long while. But
You have the tools to
the
snowball
team
a top
composition
laner,
for
though.
SKT also does fit pretty well with the Lulu, so it could be a denial pick.
Kassadin and Lulu, are they looking to make the AP happen that way for the team?
Oh,
It is locked in, so Lulu is going towards that top lane for Smeb. Gorilla is going to be giving that Kassadin over to KOO. We'll see what SKT has for their counter pick here.
So
It
now
is
you
going
also
to be for
just,
Faker.
You just blind picked Kassadin as well.
Yep, that.
I'm just gonna throw it out
Glad
there.
you pointed that out.
Faker is the guy who wants to play Riven mid. just pointing it out. Obviously,
We want him to play
there will
Ricky.
be a lot of physical damage if he goes for it. He does have an AP jungler at
That's a
least.
good point. That's a
But
good
now
point.
again, he has the opportunity to counter pick this Kassadin, unless we're gonna see some flexing going on and Kassadin suddenly goes to the top lane.
He still
Definitely
has the
not
rise.
expecting that
I was
one.
just gonna
Yeah.
say it.
Just to note, all games Smeb has played in 2015, he's played 8 Lulu games, 5 wins, 3 losses, so it's not something completely foreign to him. It's just not what we'd expect out of KOO so far at Worlds. Lulu top lane was something that Stake played in the group stages, and then after that, it's pretty much been in the mid lane.
No.
Yeah.
And now we get to see Faker's Rise. When you push Faker's champion pool, he just goes back to Rise, I suppose.
Why not? It's been open every game
Well, if
so
you
far.
look at what he's played in solo queue, he's like AD carry top lane. Oh, jungle ones. Oh, I'll play a support. He's everywhere. You can't scout this guy, so he just goes back to the Rise, even if he does have to reach
Yeah.
into that pocket even deeper for a game 5.
And this is such a fine lane for Faker because the Kassadin never really has the ability to be too aggressive unless you have full control of the enemy jungle. Because whenever you jump in as the Kassadin, he can just pop his ulti on Rise and you can just spam snare and you can literally lock this guy in place and he cannot use his mobility, which is what Kassadin does so well. It's also going to be a free farm lane for Faker. He can bring teleport. This is the time now where SKT suddenly will have the map pressure. KOO is bringing Ignite once again on the Kassadin. So they cannot start falling behind because they will not be able to stop what's going to happen in the side lanes. We know Nara is going to be really, really strong as well as a spike pusher.
And this is another one of these matchups, though, where KOO Tigers brings global ultimates in support and jungle, whereas SKT will then bring the extra teleport in the mid lane. It's the same juxtaposition we saw in Game 1, just swapped for which teams had the globals.
We're gonna see what happens. Loading up for game 4 with the Summoners Cup on the line. Tweet hashtag KOO win or hashtag SKT win to @LOL Esports. We'll be tallying your votes up throughout the game to see where you stand on this one. I'm sure coming into the game or even right after the game, maybe one of the first things Koma said was the perfect record doesn't matter. The win still does. Shake that off, get into game. KOO, however, riding a wave of momentum coming into this one. It's exactly what they wanted from the crowd and from themselves. And they stand in a very good position to take another game.
Definitely say that most players don't care about these 18-0s or 13-0, whatever it is you're aiming for. They just want to win the whole thing.
Yep.
It's more the casters who care about who you're undefeated.
All that will matter is which team hoists the Summoners Cup.
That's exactly
That is
right.
so beautifully on display on the stage right there. And SKT, just like they were in Game 3, are 1 game away
It still hangs
from
in the
that
balance.
moment. And for Faker and Bengi, it would be their 2nd time doing such, and they would be the first people to ever have that privilege to do it twice.
And now we get to see, I think I didn't expect, Smith on a supportive champion. Because the whole reason this meta fit KOO Tigers so well was that Smith could take Riven and Fiora into the top lane. He would outduel the enemy top laner and do really, really well. We haven't seen him show up too much this time around. Last game he needed 30 minutes of farming. Then we saw a big play. It was massive and allowed KOO Tigers to win the game, obviously. But now he's on supported champions that can't really snowball. That's one of the problems about Lulu. TP ganks are not very effective for her. Ganking her lane doesn't do a whole lot. You'd rather want to leave the Lulu alone and just let her sit and farm up.
It's true, and actually before the last game, it had been a really long time since KOO Tigers had defeated SKT. I mean, you mentioned the summer split that they were 0-4.
Yeah.
They were 3-0'd in the spring final. They were 2-0'd
Yeah.
later on in their second best of 3 in the spring split. But in doing that, how much will that get in the mind of SKT? They need to be able to bounce back.
Speaking of records, the last time SKT even dropped 1 game in a series was in August against Naj and EM Fire, so it's not something they're really used to right now. You can see KOO's momentum wave flowing right into the crowd as they wave around the Mercedes-Benz Arena.
SKT has done this before where they leash for either Bengi or Marin to get him quickly to level 2 and then he can go to his lane and he kind of has a small advantage. You see him get the Grump now. It got delayed a little bit because KOO Tigers invaded, but that was very smart. And he's gonna, he's gonna kill it, I mean.
Half a second away, actually, from not killing that thing. They know he's going to be recalling, so Smeb will be able to make it up there level 2.
Yeah.
Either of the bottom lanes actually gain experience on that.
And Smip can run because he started on top side of the map. It's very important in these matchups here. If you start on the top side as the jungles and top lane duo, taking that camp, get level 2, even a blue buff on the side of Smith, you can run up there and save your teleport. Because Marin had to do this play around the Grump, wanted to try and rush it down and then TP up. He's now down a summon as well, and that's going to be key when it comes to poking away. You can always go back to the turn.
And even though Smeb has been performing so well on carry top laners, it's not like he hasn't been effective on utility or tank type top laners in the past. 5-3 this year on Lulu. He was a good Maokai player. He was a great Gnar player. He can still play those styles. It's just more throwback for KOO Tigers and kind of a mix of the old and the new with this team composition.
A lot of Korean players, when you are on Incredible Miracle, you don't really perform too well. But when you leave, a lot of the players tend to do really, really well. Smith is one of the guys. Didn't have much of a name before he joined the KOO Tigers. And then slowly but surely got better.
Was actually considered one of the worst top laners previously. So a very big step up for him. We heard the Korean casters saying it was almost impossible that SKT themselves slumped, but each player on KOO Tigers has faced that individually and then come back to be fantastic players here at Power Worlds, aiming for the second spot.
And this game will also be so much about how SKT can recover from the early game. You can see Bengi missing his cocoon on the Scuttle Crab. Not the best start, losing some early pressure there because that revealed him to Gorilla and Prey as well. SKT really needs to kind of reset, make sure they're safe in the early game, and then make KOO beat them.
Have to keep an eye this game if they do kind of forego the sight stones again, use the hawk shot, get their vision through different means, or if they go back to kind of a regular play. The aggression they had last game took SKT off guard, but I'm sure SKT's ready for that another time.
Yeah, for sure. They've been talking about the first 5 minutes. We haven't seen SKT rush into the enemy jungle all of a sudden and take a stupid fight. We just saw a jungler miss on the wrist cutter.
Much more patience.
That was about it. That's about the amount of action we've seen so far. So it's a lot slower pace now for SKT. There is a lane that's going to be annoying for them. I always liked Ashe into Sivir because of the fact that you can just constantly trade her with her. It's very hard for Sivir to trade back these quick trades. You're just going to boomerang you step to the side. But when that happens, Tahm Kench will eat the Ashe. Then suddenly the trade damage is really going. There we go. Thank you very much, by the way, KOO Tigers, for showing it. So you can have these very quick trades. Then you get that level 6 and you can start making plays across the map.
Well, the wave kind of sitting in their favor here, if there any is. Jungle pressure down bottom. Hojin is there, but there is going to be no presence of Bengi as the wave kind of crashes in and starts to build.
Yeah, and there was a slight early edge in that lane for KOO because SKT did try and pull for Marin, but we're not seeing the fruits of that labor in any of the lanes. The top lane is still losing to Smeb, although it is small, and then Prey and Gorilla, even with the wave being in their turret, were up about 8 or 9 CS, so nice stuff all around. Hojin, though, he sees, ooh,
it's a pretty risky invade. Bengi just pulled off. He moved it on his own. Kassadin couldn't move down. The lane was pushed in. Gorilla and Prey down here is having control of the 2v2 as well. They could easily have collapsed on Bengi, but they didn't see him before it was too late. He got very early side stone. Has a few deep wards down. That's going to be important at least, so he gets away with it.
Yep.
That could have been very, very risky.
Smeb using that blue buff as much as possible to make sure Marin stays down, activating his Gnar off the minion wave as well, so he can't get pressure, but Marin just dodged, didn't take too much damage. Another condition that SKT will have to fight under is that Gnar bar. We'll see how they get around that once the time comes. A very early sight stone for Bengi to get more vision in. Looks like Hojin was towards the mid lane, but Faker rolled back, so they're not going to get anything out of it.
Low on mana.
Not in a great spot. He's been pushing with that blue buff. Without it now, he gets himself out. The repel does not hit.
That's exactly what Smeb needed to do right there. So often you see Lulu's greed and not successfully flash the cocoon away there, but he knew he couldn't speed himself up very well. You knew he was low on mana, and it's just, aside from getting caught in the first place because you're pushed up at 6.5 minutes without wards, the gank escape was perfectly done.
A little bit annoying for Bengi as well. He knew the minion wave was coming. He's like, either I fire the cocoon now, or the minion wave will arrive and I can't do it, and he can hide behind them and so on. But pulling the trigger.
Well, that flash is down. Bengi wants to at least get coverage up here, or since Marin is pushed up pretty low health, they want to see if Hojin's going to make a move. Hojin, however, likes to counter gank himself, so make him up here very, very slow. Not get himself in any trouble. Actually goes down bottom. Knows Smeb is safe. He's going to get some vision of his own inside the jungle.
This is a little,
at least knowledge.
This is a little bit more of the bracket stage Hojin that was looking ineffective. He's wasted a lot of time so far in this game. Not only in the bottom lane beforehand, when the ward is spotted by Bengi, the ward yards in place, he canceled his recall, cleared an extra ward, went back to base, and then a very late counter gank attempt in the top lane when Smeb really couldn't have even been dived since he just teleported back to his turret at absolute full health. So some inefficiencies coming up.
And as soon as you show yourself as a jungler in the early game, you give so much information to the other team. Because, okay, he's top side. Suddenly, it's open for you to go into the enemy jungle on the bottom side. If you want to reuse some of the rewards, you can keep control that way. So whenever a jungler wastes time by showing how they can shoot now, it ends up costing more in the long run. Because of their vision, you lose.
And one of the bigger costs of that is the fact that Faker still gets to farm up freely on Rise. We knew it was going to be an easy lane, but when he's able to dodge the jungle pressure so easily, he's gone tier into a Mana Crystal. He's going to be going Catalyst next, but he is completely maxing out on damage early on here.
And you can see it's almost told as well. If you look at the items in the side of Smeb and KOO, they both have Catalyst, which means they'll be doing stacking as well. The Cocoon comes out, Hojin flashes in and gets the knockup, saving Smeb's life. Can they retaliate here? It looks like Bengi and Marin have gotten too far away, but what a save for Smeb.
A lot of things happened right there. Faker tried to TP in behind as well, but KOO managed to interrupt the teleport from Faker, and then obviously we had this no-flash Lulu running from the river. SKT thinking, oh, this is gonna be a kill, and Hojin shows up to save the day.
Everyone had to do the right thing to avoid dying there, which is a little bit dangerous.
Flashes were blown in the mid lane as well. Looks like Faker and KOO went hard, so there's no flash for this. Hojin in a real bad situation with the last bit of mana. Faker takes him down 2v1.
This was one of the problems we mentioned a little bit in Champ Select, how Kassadin in the early game with the Catalyst, he can't really burst down the Rise. And then whenever you jump in for any fights, Rise can just turn it around.
I figured there wouldn't be any fights right now. You're going up against Faker, charging things up. Of course he knows how to play that, and it's a tell to have two Catalysts to say, we want to hang.
And it remains to be the greatest mystery of worlds, how Faker's the only one playing Rise in the mid lane. But I think
true, it really is.
We're learning more and more about why that's the case. It really feels like he's the only one that truly understands Rise. Because that was easy for Faker. He burned Ignite in a 1v2 and got an easy kill.
And Flash was already down from a 1v1 that they just had as the teleports went towards top, so.
Yeah, really bad
playing
game
it
by
very
Hogan
well.
and KOO there.
So KOO Tigers in the last few games, on average at 10 minutes, they were 1,084 gold ahead of SKT. This game, we have not seen the same SKT TELECOM run in head first and just risk losing members, giving up kills they shouldn't have in the early game. They're playing a lot slower. Bengi has been getting some deep wards, and this time around it's SKT who has the lead at 10 minutes. We also know they have the better late game shot calling.
Yes.
As a team, we have seen that now. Suddenly it's looking a lot different.
Very controlled from SKT, not trying to get themselves into crazy engages behind tier 2 turrets at the start of the game. Already setting the pace that they want and that they can control.
Yeah, and here's what SKT is trying to do. They want Faker to scale up a little bit more into a Rod of Ages. They want Marin to stack magic resist so he's nearly unkillable by the Lulu and Kassadin. Those are two very low sustained damage mages, and Ashe doesn't do big damage until later in the game.
They're gonna fight him mid though. He's behind them.
Wolf comes up the river behind everyone. The arrow into Bang is actually spell shielded nicely. So ult for ult there, but the turret is saved in mid lane.
And I really like this play here from KOO Tigers. When you play against a Kassadin or a Rise, things that can't easily clear the way, with them to stand fairly close, or Faker would have to use his ulti, and then the next wave you would be able to clear it out. You gotta be able to move in your AD carry and your support to that mid lane, pressure that tower, because so often you get so much free damage before the other team reacts and sending their AD carry to defend. KOO Tigers had pushed out the bottom lane. We mentioned how with the Ashe and Tahm Kench, they can have these globals to move to the other lanes, send them straight mid lane, get a lot of damage before Bang reacted, and SKT has to fight them to stop the push.
And this is where SKT plays the best. So many flashes were blown from Prey and Gorilla on the last fight. They know they're safe to do this, and they start taking the advantages little by little. Hojin gets pushed out by the ultimate of Faker in the mid lane. He actually should be okay here with the blue buff. Room person back on the KOO, and everything is safe. Again, Dragon number 1 goes to SKT.
Really easy Dragon 2. Smeb didn't have the teleport up in the top lane. Faker is beginning to manhandle this mid lane.
Abyssal Voyage towards mid.
This isn't to kill Faker,
Pressure,
this is to kill the turret. They already know the turret is low and Faker can't clear the wave well.
Exactly the same play we just saw before from KOO Tigers. They know Faker on the Rise cannot clear. He already used the ulti. Safe play from KOO Tigers. Very low risk, and obviously gives a great reward because you get a mid tower down in 12 minutes. So I really like those two plays, and it's one of the things that Tahm Kench offers. See what happens here. Marin's going to Smeb.
And this is one of the first games where we haven't seen the side lanes drop yet. The middle goes down first. We'll see how that opens up the map right now. that wet noodle fight in the top lane. Looks like Hojin wants to participate. Nars back Smeb so he can't slow him anymore, but the pop-up from Hojin may keep him in range. Smeb does have flash. Will he utilize it? I think Marin's made too much ground already, and he gets out safe.
They were thinking about going hard up there. Curl already roamed halfway up the lane, which leaves this window. Wolf can dive on Alistar. He has his ult.
That's the hit. Gorilla's going to be pushed back, but that's a lot of gray health he has to work with to get out of this situation. Pops it at the last second, and beautiful. Wolf waits until the last moment when he can headbutt, knowing Gorilla's flash is down, and make it look easy.
Good decision from Wolf going for the Tahm Kench. Don't go for the AD carry. He can just eat him then. Keep him alive.
Sometimes it's ill-advised, but they know what they're doing.
Go for the support here. Take him down. Take the tower as well. Marin is still up in the top lane trying to defend. Here's the teleport from Faker.
He's gonna need help. Yeah, there comes Faker. Really nice timing on that teleport.
TP and ult as he makes his way out there. Getting a few stacks on the... Oh, wait a minute. He's going to be in range a little bit more. Spams out those rune prisons. That's the tower hitting. Marin trying to give him the time of day, but it's a hit from Faker. The teleport and flash. Hashtag worth.
And right here is why Faker makes Rise work. He knows exactly when he can flash forward and just unleash his entire combo, keep you basically locked in place.
The fact that he knew he could gap close the entire lane against the Lulu is incredible.
Yeah, you have very small windows of power on Rise, and Faker is able to show up in these situations where the enemy isn't tracking the Rise cooldowns as well as Faker is. And really, his flash to kill ratio on Rise is nearing 100%.
All the time, man.
It's truly impressive.
Nicely played by Marin to escape any danger there from Kuro. Been roaming a little bit now. Loses pressure on his mid lane. We'll see if he can get back quickly. Faker's already there stacking it up, so SKT could be pressuring mid now.
Prey and Gorilla should have been mid already. Now they end up having to use the ulti here. Let's see what happens.
Oh, hello, the AD carry Abyssal Voyage. Gorilla and Prey come popping out as Hojin on the other side, and that's going to call Marin down, so a little bit of a fight in the mid lane that nobody wants to take until everyone arrives.
When you play with a Kassadin, as soon as the laning phase seems to be over and we have these roams happening, skirmish all over the place, you need to get that Kassadin away from the mid lane. Because again, he will not be able to defend if SKT groups on him. So you have to move Ashe and Tahm Kench earlier to mid lane, so you didn't have to use the ulti here from Gorilla either. You have that now global pressure because Tahm Kench can go to either lane with his ulti, and he can take Prey with him or Hojin with him if needed. But you need that AD carry to sit with the support to be the defensive mid. Obviously, it's not the same wave clear from an Ashe, but at least it's long range. Bang now gets a lot of time on front lane because KOO Tigers just had to move Kassadin top, then move AD carry mid, very delayed. They were constantly a step behind, and that's what SKT is used.
Exactly. Kassadin, Ashe, when you compare that to just to Sivir and Rise. Rise and Kassadin, Rise would actually have a little bit better wave clear than the Kassadin, but Sivir's much better than the Ashe.
Yeah.
They're playing the pressure game. This is the game that SKT had a huge compositional advantage in Game 3, but then we're getting picked off too many times. But the conservative nature of what SKT is doing with the windows of aggression is more the SKT that we saw in Games 1 and 2.
And you're going to see SKT move Rise down to the bottom lane and then keep the Sivir in mid lane. So you now have 3 lanes basically pushing for you. Sivir can instant wave clear in here mid, always get it down to towers, so Prey stuck there defending. They have full vision of where Prey is on the map. Rise is not going to be challenged by anyone in a 1 versus 1. We've seen what happens when Kassadin jumps forward. Lulu is not going to do it. So there's going to be 3 lanes where SKT can push them down. That means they can be proactive outside of KOO Tigers trying to fire an arrow and surprise them. But then SKT should be in a position where they push up the wave, we can see it happening, and react to double teleport themselves.
If any mistakes are made at the same time, they'll get way more than just 1 turret in that situation. SKT takes a mile when you give them an inch. 3-0 already. This time they have the 2,000 gold lead, and we did see the early sightstones coming in from KOO this time. It wasn't just the run into the jungle, find a target, and make it happen. They don't have that pick anymore to work with.
Sivir with the spell shield is hard to catch out for the Ashe. So if you want to make that play
Bang's been so good at spell shielding it.
Exactly, and you have Wolf as well with his ulti. So not really any target you're aiming for mid lane. At least the repel up in the air.
Yeah, a lot of denial there.
Mainly they're trying to hit Faker, who's going to be having some resiliency of his own with the Rod of Aegis being completed, and the Seraph Embrace going to come online pretty soon as well. So the arrow targets have to be pretty tricky. Maybe they'd have to hit Bengi before he can repel up.
Could be one of them.
But it's harder for KOO to find the kills in this game, and their aggression has definitely been toned pretty far back in the last.
And we looked again at this double teleport. Marin once again has gone for the storm. Very early on. Less cooldown on the teleport. He was one of the first guys to really start bringing home guard when TP top became a big thing, and he was so good at Malphite and so on, always creating flanks with it. Now he's changed that. Distortion is that less cooldown has more value for him in this game. So double TP, less cooldown on one of them, stronger side lanes as well.
Well, I also think it's just a smart adaptation to the way the game is being played. So much of the teleports are matching each other's teleports, so when you match, if Martin has distortion boots, his is up sooner, and they can then win that play.
But Smeb should have noticed that, and he can copy it and do exactly the same. We've seen 3 games in a row now from Marin, and if it's gonna be a problem, which it will be, because again the cooldowns are so important, I feel like you can adapt on the fly.
Are they going to dive top? I was going to say Hojin spending a little too much time there for just a ward, but it looks like they do decide to go with it. But they're giving SKT way too much time. Also, a teleport is still up for Faker. They're fighting the other teleport in Marin, but they don't have a minion wave. SKT has already mobilized themselves towards top.
And I think another thing we haven't talked about, as we saw with Smeb and Marin, just like slapping each other very weakly. Super tank Marin. KOO can't create any opportunities on his own against Ryze, and Ashe isn't exactly your dueling AD carry. KOO Tigers really needs to wait a long time before this team composition comes online, and they're actually at the mercy of a lot of the power spikes from SKT thus far.
Faker realizes he is sitting right on a ward, hatching it, and the team wants this right now. Doesn't look like KOO's going to get much, and they lose pressure in the top lane. Smeb went to TP, but he did not go, so he gets disturbed.
Because SKT keep pushing down all 3 lanes to the towers of KOO Tigers, they can see as soon as people are missing. Like, oh, you just left mid lane. Let's make sure our top laner is aware. Let's make sure Faker can teleport up in case it's needed. And we saw all other members from SKT already run through their own jungle towards that top lane in case a dive would happen. I would like to see Prey instead recall, run from the base and then fire an arrow down the lane here. That's very hard to dodge unless you have flash up. And it's also a lot harder to predict. Okay, where's he going? Is he going top? Is he going front lane? If he moves from mid lane after playing a wave, SKT sees it.
Such an advantage as well now with Faker having that teleport up. KOO has to respect the bottom lane push, so he's forced to rift down as the rest of the team tries to hold off middle. Marin's gonna go ahead and pick up red, and that will just create more of a possibility for SKT to kind of reel in these kills. Just farming it up. Marin against the blue buff Lulu, still up in CS there in the lane by a few. He's doing what he can to stay in this game.
Strong Gnar play, good build in this situation he's in too, because he knows it's going to be a very long time before Prey can sufficiently hurt him. Nice steal by Benji right now.
That hurts.
Yeah, SKT is systematically kind of just taking away KOO's win conditions. They're keeping the waves pushed up, the teleports from Smeb are failed, the Tom Kench, if he ever goes missing, SKT's able to fall backwards. And they too scale very well. Faker on Ryze will be a late game monster, so they're really making KOO commit into these pretty risky plays in which they haven't been willing to. Honestly, Prey is still sitting on Infinity Edge components, so it's going to take a long time
Marin
for KOO Tigers to make this play.
Not really worried about those fights, worried about being a tank. Sterak's Gage, first item.
I think it's great when you have a Sivir, when you have an Alistar, something that can set up the fight for you and help you stay in there, give you extra mobility, because you become such a monster once you're in the middle of the fight, and obviously the shield pops, you get the extra AD for yourself. That's going to make him really hard to deal with in the fights. And obviously, again, he's not afraid of the Lulu killing him. He has enough magic resist. I have such a weird feeling with Lulu top lane, because again, it can't really snowball, it can't really assert a whole lot of pressure either. It just wants to go into team fights, but you want to have a split pushing threat in this meta. So it's always been a bit of a weird pick, and that's why we've seen it a lot less here this World Championship. I definitely didn't expect it.
Backs against the wall, Fiora not in his champion pool there because it was banned away, so I understand why they went for it in this situation, because they had so much success in Game 3 by going with something completely different, a full pick composition. And they are stalling this game out as well. SKT as well as KOO Tigers are kind of playing the slow game.
Yeah, simply just not been able to create the pick in this game, because Prey is always spotted where he goes. He's not been able to roam around in this Ashe here. Double teleport makes it so difficult, because all 3 lanes have always been pushing down, slowly chipping away on the power.
Faker hitting that Saracen brace as well. He's going to be even harder to kill now. 10 stacks towards KOO's Rod of Ages. Smeb is almost there, so those items coming online now as they put a few more in their pocket. Faker almost at 10 stacks on his. This is going to get very, very volatile quite soon. Level 11s are on the board. That means they have their second ultimate. Dragon is going to be up in a minute 40. Be a perfect time to get more summoners or ults out of members of SKT here. 22 minutes in, it's a 3,000 gold lead for SKT with 2 Dragons already in their favor.
Yeah, and this could turn into a 3, 4, maybe even 5 Dragon stall game for SKT. It'll be really interesting to see when KOO Tigers tries to contest the Dragon, because they really haven't been in strong position to do so. They do have 2 Rod of Ages, though, stacking up pretty heavily. Yeah. When they get a death cap onto Smeb, if they get a death cap onto Smeb, and when KOO completes his Zhonya's, is there opportunity to create a fight?
It is, and that's what they have to pull off. The problem is, SK Telecom, they have no reason to rush in and take a 5-on-5 fight. Again, when you have the map pressure, you just keep pushing the lanes, and you wait for that moment where KOO Tigers sends someone down to defend the bot lane tower, and then you make a play on the opposite side of the map. But that's where you rush the Dragon while Kassadin is sitting and clearing waves at his own tower down here on the bottom side. And then you always have that small advantage coming into the fight. If SKT suddenly just rushes Dragon for absolutely no reason, that's where KOO Tigers will have an opening. Land an arrow, get the engage, try and win that fight.
Seeing how SKT could play this one. Marin in the top lane, looking to build that bar. Would be a great time in 30 seconds to have that Gnar out. Faker and KOO already on the bottom side of the map, adding that pressure. With Dragon coming up, you can already see Gorilla kind of waiting in the middle of both top and mid, or I should say bottom and mid.
Remember his home guards, and he's sitting in base for a long time now. He's waiting to TP somewhere. He's going in bot lane now.
Just going into the river brush, but it's going to be KOO getting dropped immediately. How did he even think he could take that fight? Sarah's Embrace wasn't even used by Faker, and they're ready to keep going for the fight. Gorilla chomps up Smeb as his teleport comes in. Prey gets caught way off on the wing here. KOO was not ready to take any sort of fight. They thought it'd be a single 1v1 with their TP being the advantage of the bottom lane, but they have been turned on their head for this engage. Marin, no red buff, just the slows from the boomerang, but it looks like KOO is able to stave off any more deaths. 2-0 there for SKT.
KOO has no idea how to deal with Faker. That is the thing that is losing them this game. 4-0-1, 100% kill participation, and also 2 of those kills were 1v2s, and he didn't even have to burn flash while killing them. This is a big misplay by KOO to be walking in range of Faker when he's capable of doing that. Faker has complete mastery and knowledge of what he can do, and you can tell KOO has none of that knowledge.
I just love this matchup here. He was last picked the Rise into the Kassadin. Kassadin shines when he uses mobility, get multiple ultis off, but Rise is able to lock him in place and burst him out. Keep in mind, you're also a champion who wants to go Hourglass second item. There's nothing against the Rise. He just got completely destroyed.
Tom Kench was trying to come in for a larger flank. That's why the Kassadin engaged.
Oh yeah,
he was interrupted on the other side of the fight.
They had Homeguard TP coming, they had Tom Kench coming, everything was set up. But you need to get that arrow in first to stun that Rise, because we see what Faker can do. The amount of damage he's pulling off already.
Can't let him freewheel like that.
And again, a game they're building. The face of the mountain fully, it looks like, on Gorilla. Merc treads around, so they have what they need in magic resistance instead of building that Aegis. The Locket's already completed for Bengi. They're not worried about any of that AP damage, so Faker can still wreak havoc on these members of KOO. It's not looking good, and we've said Faker, Playmaker really hasn't been here this world. He's just waiting for the final place.
I think he's been having a great final so far. See what happens here. Gorilla, he's caught.
The gray health is there, a flash over the wall possibly. Doesn't even get a chance to gray health on that one. A good crit from Bang and the execution from Bengi. And it looks like a little too far into the turret as they're getting flanked by KOO here. SKT still knows their limits, and they get 1 kill there and have mid pressure.
The walls are crashing down around KOO Tigers right now.
Playtime is over.
Yeah, Marin is also unburstable for the most part with the Sterix gauge as well as the tank items. The team is engaging in the right moments. The waves are crashing down on KOO Tigers. They don't even have Ash Hour right now. SKT is in complete control and look to be on their way to their 2nd world champ.
And this is where SKT does their best work. When their opponent's being smothered, they don't know how to assess a fight. They don't know where to go once the fight starts. And SKT continues to pick you off 1 by 1, grabbing a little bit after that. And it looks like they were looking for a few more kills there as they enter the jungle with the Tigers. Coming up empty-handed, they're still happy to be in the lead with all the map pressure right now.
And what a mental recovery by SKT. They died 29 times in Game 3 to the KOO Tigers, and 26 minutes into this game, they are yet to suffer a casualty. Undefeated throughout all of Worlds. Play kind of badly in Game 2, early game comeback. Play even worse in Game 3, get beaten. The crowd is completely against them at the end of that game. KOO Tiger chance coming in, and they are playing close to a flawless Game 4.
Very, very clear after the game. Sit down, took extra time before they even returned to the stage.
Yeah, they did.
And just talked over and said, okay guys, we have absolutely no reason to risk this early game. We know what we can do later on in the game. Play it safe. Doing it in this game here. Double teleport coming in. And KOO Tigers also surprising us again in the pick and ban phase. This time around, I definitely feel like it was for the worse, especially when it came to this Lulu pick in the top lane. The first 3 picks were great. Rek'Sai, Ashe, Tahm Kench looked really good for KOO Tigers. Then it was a blind pick casted in, and it was
It's just going to mention that. Coming in maybe a little too strong-headed there. Obviously, still could have worked. Seen the blind pick cast-ins come out very strong, but Faker knows exactly what that matchup is about. Pulling out the Rise one time after the other, continues to play it to great success.
Yeah, and comparing the team compositions between Game 3 and 4 for KOO Tigers, Game 3, everyone was a playmaker. Lee Sin for Hojin. Ashe and Kassadin still the same, but they had split push pressure from Smeb on Fiora and a Thresh for Gorilla. Tahm Kench is an annoying support. He's mainly a defensive user.
He's beautiful.
And then he punishes positional errors, but he's not the same type of playmaker that Thresh is. So substantially less playmaking for KOO. And that's one of the great things. They kind of threw caution to the wind.
Oh boy.
But now SKT is playing their defensive controlled game. This is their risk.
Teleport almost up for Smeb on this one. He's clearing the bottom wave. It looks like the team may not even try to take anything. Hojin gets hit out. A very late arrow, though, still allowing SKT to fight. The Gnar misses off of a flash there by Gorilla, but Baron is now up, and the fact that the waves are already crashing towards KOO makes this so much more difficult for them.
Remember, it's a home guard enchant. For Smeb, less cooldown or more cooldown. For Hojin,
Again, where they take different roads to exit. The exhaust is there, but I don't think they're going to have the chase on that, even with Faker's ultimate coming in. It looks like they stay back. KOO now trying to hold off mid. The flash was used by Prey, or I'm sorry, heal was used by Prey. The TP coming in to save the minion as well as engage in a fight. Smeb gets the wild growth on himself. What a static shiv crit. And it looks like that could be a final kill. Nicely done coming in. The Toxin from Bengi picking up a kill onto Prey as he had already used heal. He could not get himself away. And Gorilla also falls after flashing previously.
And SKT is going to take a lot after this one. The wave clear is gone for KOO Tigers. They had to go back to base. They have Baron buff and 5 people alive for SKT.
How hard do they push this in? They don't have many waves pushing the side. It could be towards the top before Prey and Gorilla get up to get that second tier turret. They have a pretty good minion wave halfway there, but I don't know if they'll have time. Maybe they just have too much money to spend at this point. 11.5 thousand gold in the lead right now, and still a flawless game of 8-0 as we just hit 30 minutes.
yeah, no reason for SKT to risk anything. Just go back, return out here, take another dragon, get 4 for yourself. And really, just the way they've been sitting in this 1-3-1 as Marin is trying to run away, Hojin comes in.
Beautiful hop. The whimsy from Smeb couldn't get him there in time, but it's all about KOO being there. That'll take him a lot more time. This gives SKT time to move out on the map. Marin staying alive for quite a bit. Yes, it's going to go to KOO, and I guess SKT did not get too much out. Thought Marin might make it a little farther, but that was a good pickup.
First small sloppy mistake we've seen in this game from SKT.
Yeah.
Marin shutout. Just being a little bit too greedy for trade, I think, against Smeb.
He's getting Baron off of one member. Very good here for KOO, but still quite a bit of Baron to be used by the rest of the team's Faker to the bot lane, but he's got to be wary now.
Yeah.
He does not have his teleport up, and you can see.
Take Dragon.
Just take Dragon.
And I'm looking at this Ashe pick here for Prey. Normally he's a fantastic Ashe player who's able to set up a lot of picks for his team.
That's 4.
Obviously one of the reasons KOO Tigers value it so highly. But what SKT did in this game, that was very smart. First of all, Sivir, who can spell shield the arrow. Ashe, Alistar, who can obviously pop his ulti. We talked about the Elise who can propel up into the air. There was no easy target for Prey to hit. We mentioned this earlier. There's no easy target for him to hit in the mid lane. And that's normally how you stop a 1-3-1 with Ashe. You say to the other team, if you split up in side lane to be hard engaged mid and you die.
They're setting up a play.
This has to work. This has to work.
Faker onto KOO. We've seen this before. He dodges out. The minions in the mid lane gave him a bit of vision here, and it looks like he's going to be able to stay for the full fight. Hojin gets eaten up, and they're trying to get out of this. A cocoon right across the mid lane could keep someone in range, and it's going to hit Gorilla. That's going to be the fly-in from the rest of the team. The Grey Health and Wild Growth is on. Everything once again for KOO being used in defense when they want to try and get in offensively. And this is more push power coming in from SKT. A minion wave already prepped towards the top side. They're going to be able to do a lot of damage here.
KOO literally threw everything they could at Faker there, and they didn't even hit him.
Nope.
With a spell at that fight. This has been strangling from SKT. They're completely starving out KOO Tigers and just putting their stamp on this world champion.
Definitely angering the beast with that loss. SKT coming out much stronger. Maybe this is the Pandora's box. We see a Raptor cloak on Wolf as well. They're going to be going for the turret. That's going to be an inhibitor. 45 seconds onto Curl. Gorilla just came up. Does KOO have what it takes to keep their dreams alive for the Summoners Cup? And it looks like SKT may give them some breathing room here as they start to back out. They want this one methodically. They are not making any mistakes. Oh, Wolf goes in. I don't know if the team was fully on board with that one, but he does save off any re-engage as well from KOO.
Same again for SKT. There's no reason to risk anything. We've seen some of the other games.
Right.
The team got a little bit too greedy, overextended, ended up dying. Not in this one, outside that one misplay Mari made. It's been a perfect game almost.
And a surplus of items now coming out from the side of SKT. We talked about the spell shield. Bang, if he misses it, he also has the Quicksilver Sash. Now Faker's got his Rabadons on top of everything else. Deadman's played on the Sterix Rage and a Banshee's Veil in the top lane. So many things to help them mitigate the crowd control in KOO's fight.
It just seemed like KOO invested everything onto the fact that they could always engage with Tom, Kench, and Ash, so they didn't need to bring double teleport. They could start these fights, but then they didn't realize how many members from SKT could avoid getting stunned by that arrow, and suddenly the 1-3-1 was going to be a thing. Double TP. There's just been no answer. In fact, it's so hard to play against unless you get that massive lead early on, which they did.
Yeah, and I mean, this game, if SKT closes out with this 13,000 gold advantage, is almost classic SKT. It's exactly the way they want to win the game. Nothing incredibly flashy. Faker dominates the opposition. They still make smart plays after that. They rotate around the map properly, and they just systematically starve out the opponent. KOO Tigers, last stand, 2 inhibitors down. Here SKT comes.
On the hunt, goes in. That's going to be Hojin in a real sticky situation. He goes down a full 3-man Gnar ultimate. That's going to be smacked down now. Eyes onto the AD carry, but the support hits. It's going to be Kuro out safely. Prey, however, has to run away from his base. SK Telecom looking to take down the final Nexus turrets. It does not look good for Kuro and his team. KOO Tigers are falling. SKT will be your first ever 2-time world champions! In an almost perfect run, the emotion on the team being felt. You could see it on Faker's face. An almost perfect run here for SKT. Thwarted one game, but come out the victors and get to hoist the Summoners Cup a second time.
Faker, Bengi, and Koma, the repeat champions here. And if Faker's legacy wasn't cemented enough, that last performance on Rise, he made it look easy.
Faker, playmaker. He showed up, especially in the last game. Had a good final overall. Other members from SKT we always have to highlight. Bengi, in this game on Elise, had a massive impact, but Bang really for me as well as an AD carry. In these fights here, he's never the guy you talk about. When you look at SK Telecom, you look at the big names like Faker, Marin in the top lane. Bang is just consistently always there for his team and doing well.
It's gotta feel good for these guys.
An amazing record throughout summer to the end of Worlds. 53-7. SKT puts up an amazing show.
Now they get to hoist that Summoners Cup. Also, KOO Tigers, you saw them still in good spirits. They had such a tremendous year. But ultimately, this is the year of SKT. 2 LCK championships, spring and summer. Perhaps the most dominant split or total year we've ever seen from a Korean team. And it all culminates with that 13-1 slaughter of KOO Tigers in Game 4.
I think one of the biggest things you mentioned before, gentlemen, is the fact that the slump in Game 3 wasn't even seen in Game 4. They knew exactly how to repair any of the errors and bring themselves right back to the top of the game.
That's when you know it's a great team. When you can lose a game in a best out of 5, but then instantly
turn it around.
Fix everything, you're ready for the next game.
I can't believe how much restraint SKT has. Just grab it.
As a team, they will do so. SK Telecom T1, your 2-time world champions. An amazing feat that they have performed here at Worlds.
Yeah, because coming into this Worlds, there was a lot of hype for some of the other teams. EDG, LGD, even KT, Fnatic, CLG, all these teams that people thought could make a big appearance, and everyone fell short, except SKT, who I think completely lived up to expectations as the favorite of this tournament, even exceeded them in many of the positions because Marin had huge games, Bengi had big games, Bang had huge games, and it wasn't until the very end that Faker actually had his big game.
The kiss of the LCK Cup and the Summoners Cup for Faker once again. And right now we're gonna throw it over to our analysts for a discussion of that game.
Thank you, Riv. Once again, our 2015 World Champions, SK Telecom, and so well deserved. It can only be reiterated. These guys have looked unstoppable throughout the year, unstoppable throughout this tournament, and they come away with it in such fashion there with that final game, absolutely taking over the Rift.
Well, they were a little bit stoppable. They did lose that last
one. You're right. They had the one blemish. They had the one loss.
It was an important international tournament, but I really respect them. They bounced back so hard after that. That one loss, they really came through, tried to fix the flaws that they found, and that led to this unbelievable 53-7 bloodbath through the summer season that has culminated right here.
And their tournament has just been so clean. It took almost all the way till the finals till we saw any of these unforced errors, and there were only a couple of them.
Yeah, up until Marin kind of died there in the point, it was almost looking like, except for one tower, a perfect game here. But still some respect from the crowd for the KOO Tigers.
Yeah. And from SKT as well, great sportsmen there, showing love for our runners-up. I mean, what an incredible run they had as well. That can't be forgotten.
I love it. You gotta love them. Look at their faces.
Talk about the attitude. The attitude that brought them to the finals will carry them out of the finals.
They may have lost, but they still had such an incredible year.
But they won our hearts.
They won our hearts.
Oh, by far and away.
Yeah, the first year that they're actually a professional team, they go all the way to the finals of the World Championship.
Right, we talked about, great feats like Fnatic and Origin and having made it to the semis with their first year with these rosters. The same thing for KOO Tigers, and they make it all the way to the finals. They're the only team to take a game off of SKT in this tournament. But of course, taking only one game off of SKT, I mean, they remain these titans. And you refer back to the video we had at the beginning of the day talking about a team won the Season 3 World Championships, then goes into a slump in that Season 4 to some degree, and they come back stronger than ever.
Yeah, and they're just fearless in their gameplay too, just no hesitation. I think the most I've seen SKT hesitate is when they actually don't want to drop the cup when they're lifting it up. That's like, okay, we're really good at this game, League of Legends, but this cup right here, that's heavy. So, but
the real world is more difficult.
Yeah,
that cup is. It's very heavy.
I've never deserved to touch it.
They're calculated in the way that they lift the cup, just like they're calculated in the way that they play.
Eventually, they'll get used to it. This may not be the last Summoners Cup that the SKT organization may take home, because there's nothing really showing why they should stop progression. That's the more important part for me, is a team that stays flexible through multiple patches. I mean, they've had like 4 OGN titles, 2 Worlds right now, and they've adapted to every meta. They've played to their strengths. They've slumped and came back, which is something barely any team does in League of Legends overall. So that is, for me, most impressive.
Their roster is just so well-rounded that the meta shifts. No matter which lane it shifts to, no matter what combo it can shift to, SKT have someone there that can carry.
And we really just saw that even in a microcosm in these finals, because look at what happened with Faker in this last game. He plays a couple games of Lulu, all right, let's help everybody else out. But then he has one of the most impressive Rise games I have ever seen. He was seemingly everywhere on the map at once.
When he teleported mid, is like, did we glitch or something?
What is he doing there?
SKT getting their swag on right now. Got to get decked out in all of that World Finals gear as the newest champions. But I do want to return to what you guys are saying. This microcosm that we saw in the series itself, and I do want to point again towards Coma and the coaching staff, because we've talked about, one, these are the guys, yes, who are out there doing the work, individually and as a team, but behind them they have this backbone. They have SK Telecom as an organization which is so well established, and it shows in the way that they can rebound from their first loss in Worlds and then have their most dominating game of the series.
It helps when you have Faker. So.
That as well.
It's a
that
large,
Rise was
it's a large advantage.
another fitting way for this series to end was with Faker playing Rise and still nobody having an answer for it.
The best part is that so